curious. Okay. Now, try this again.
Oh, now we have a different poster. Waiting for it to
Why
go
is it
live.
freaking out? Stop freaking out. Is it my camera?
I
Oh, no.
see a
Woo,
chat,
woo, 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 woo.
but it's not playing anything yet.
Whoa. Stop freaking out.
Whoa, I can hear myself talking.
Now it's actually recording.
Come on.
Backs
Stay.
up in OBS. No, I was recording. Shit. Okay, hold on.
Okay. Every time it goes into full screen, it freaks out. It's really annoying. Hold on. Let me see maybe if I turn off my camera.
Whoa, stop freaking out.
Yep, audio's working. Chat's
Excellent.
going. Audio is working.
Hold on.
I think we're a go.
Hold on. Yeah, no, what the freak? Can you see that?
Can I see what?
What the screen is currently doing?
Where it's doing the loading square and you're on the other side and... Hey, my shirt's the right way now.
Did that work?
On your
I
screen.
see a chat,
Hold
but
on.
it's not playing anything yet.
It's freaking out every time. Oh, what the?
Record button on.
I don't
Actually
see
recording.
anything. I just see
Backs
it.
up in OBS. No, I was recording. Shit. Okay, hold on. Start recording. Shit. Okay, when it's red, it's recording. Sorry. Welcome to the YouTube preamble, everyone, where we test the setting.
That's not the video I wanted. No, that's not the video I wanted either.
You don't have your video on.
I know I'm turning it on.
You're freaking out.
That worked.
It's not helping me.
I see a chat, but
Because it's
not
really
playing
distracting.
anything
Whoa, very loud.
Record button on. So now it's actually recording.
Hello?
Yes. Shh. I need you to shh for a second. Why is it not playing the live video? Why is it not showing us as live? Come on.
It is for me.
What the hell? Why is this being so difficult? Why is it choosing this week to test my patience? Come on. Okay. Now let's.
On YouTube, it's showing everything.
That's so weird because for me it's not. Oh, what the hell? Why is it? What does it look like on? Okay, that's really strange. So I'm just gonna talk to you via OBS. No, now I'm gone. What the hell? Because you're like on my screen. Whenever I talk to you in Discord, you're like it's like that. Like it's shaking.
On YouTube, it's not. It's fine.
It's so distracting though, and I
Oh,
can't.
now it's just gone black though.
Why is it not showing me? Oh, because. Sorry, hold on. Is it because?
Now it's not. Oh, and then it just cut back in, and it's fine.
I can't see. Hold on. Bear with me.
I think you're just the one who's getting visual weird. Although it does now keep cutting to where it's black on the screen.
It's so annoying.
Or
Okay.
gray.
I'm
Black,
gonna have
gray.
to just deal with it, I guess. Like, I wish I could show you what it looked like, but then when I try to go like talk to you in OBS, you like disappear in OBS. Oh, because it's not. It's just so frustrating.
On YouTube, we're not seeing.
I know,
us
but
currently.
I need to see what it looks
Oh,
like.
there we go. We just cut back on.
Are we still live?
Yeah.
Why is it not showing me? What the hell? Sorry, everybody. It wouldn't be our podcast if we didn't have technical glitches. I just need to see what it looks like. Yeah, see, for me, it's not showing that we're live. Oh, okay. Now if I click that. Oh, now it does. Okay.
You like disappear in OBS.
Okay.
Oh, because it's
Yeah,
not. It's just so frustrating.
On YouTube, we're not.
It's just for me. It
I need to
keeps
see-
cutting
Oh,
from
there we go.
being
We
able
just
to
cut back
see
on.
us to it's just like a blank square where it's got the gray
Yeah.
inside the square
That's because I'm
and
trying
one
to.
of the circles has green around it.
It happens every time I go into OBS for whatever reason. Okay.
I just need to see what it looks like.
I just let it
for me, it's not
stutter.
showing that we're live. Oh, okay. Oh, now it does. Okay.
I wish you could see what it looked like because this would drive you crazy.
Oh, because it's just so frustrating.
I mean, I've worked with worse. I've worked with me being upside down. I've worked with
to
Weird
see
color
us.
stuff.
I know, but it's
a
just like,
blank
oh,
square where it's
okay.
got
Hopefully it doesn't
the
stutter.
gray
As long as it
inside
looks
the square,
okay.
And one of the circles has.
Is that gonna affect my? Okay, hold on just a second. Sorry, you're gonna see a black screen. Because it'll when I go to cut this into shorts later, it's gonna make it look bad. It's just so frustrating. I talk to you and that's so annoying.
Or
Okay.
gray.
I'm
Black,
gonna have
gray.
to just deal with it, I guess. That's so annoying.
Or
Okay.
gray. So weird. Although it does now keep cut.
That's so annoying.
Or
Okay.
gray.
I'm
Black,
gonna have
gray.
to just deal with it, I guess. I wish I could show you what it looked like. It's so weird. So okay, that is truly bizarre. It doesn't. Yeah, very strange. Yeah, on the OBS when it's capturing it, it's not doing it. It's just in my Discord. Oh well, that's better than nothing, I guess. So if you see me avoiding looking at the screen this week, that's why, because it's truly very distracting.
Just put your phone on on the computer screen and watch that.
It's like you're like every time I do it, it's like you're tweaking out. It's what it looks like. It's so weird.
I mean, I'm not even moving right now.
I guess maybe we'll just have to put up with I'm gonna have to keep shaking this like this. You're just gonna if for those of you watching on YouTube, sorry for the technical delays, but you're just gonna see the Discord thing pop up every once in a while because I can cut that out when I do videos, but it'll just be significantly less distracting for me when it starts to happen. Anyway, on with the show, Jordan.
On with the show.
And
this is it.
3, 2, 1. This podcast is brought to you by the Arete Podcast Network. Please head to aretemedia.org to see all sorts of podcasts from our great friends. And if you would like to start your own podcast, they can help you out there. So that's aretemedia.org. ARETE media.org. On with the show, Jordan.
On with the show, Justin.
Welcome to the Spur of the Moment, a very jittery for Justin Spur of the Moment podcast. I am your host. I'm Justin Spurr. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, the incomparable Jordan. How is Jordan today?
Pretty incomparable.
I mean, he's always incomparable. On today's show, there's a Pacific Rim Origins show, apparently, that might be coming. I got Despicable Me news, some stuff to do with BoJack Horseman, the Lord of the Rings anime. We're going to talk about the Stranger Things game for a bit. Shadow the Hedgehog has wings now, apparently. And then later in the show, we saw Alien Romulus, so we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about all the Alien movies and the Predator movies. That's going to be a thing. It's going to be a whole bunch of fun. So just, hang out. Come hang out.
Stay tuned, as it were.
Stay tuned, as it were. To begin with, Jordan, the Despicable Me director has commented on whether or not there should be a live-action Minions movie. And Jordan, you'll be happy to hear that he said, "God, I hope not."
Oh, thank God.
Yeah,
because who's asking for one?
I can't imagine literally anybody.
Like, no, none of that. Not everything needs to be live action. Not everything live action needs to be animated.
It's true. It's true. No,
That's
exactly.
that's my hard stance on that.
But also, like, I mean, guy in a Groot costume, kind of fun.
No.
Kind of fun.
No.
Can you imagine what horrific monstrosity the live action Minions would look like?
Yes, I can, and no.
I mean, it could be good.
No.
Give it
no.
a chance.
Hard no. Hard pass.
So a soft yes.
No. Hard pass.
So possible maybe.
The hardest of no's.
So perhaps that's what you're saying.
Absolutely not.
So you're saying there is possibly a chance that you might consider it happening later in the future.
I could not more vehemently be opposed to the very idea of this.
So, Jordan, they're apparently a Pacific Rim origin story prequel television series is being developed, and I'm kind of into this. I kind of always have been curious about like the genesis of the Jaegers and the first initial invasion from the kaiju. I don't know if it's live action or animated, but conceptually, I'm into this.
I could be down. I could be down. But there has to be an episode where they open up a portal to Godzilla's world and they fight Godzilla.
Jordan, it's never gonna happen.
It could happen.
It's never gonna happen.
It might happen.
It probably is very likely will
There's
not happen.
there's a potential world where it does happen.
Yeah, that's fair. Maybe it could possibly happen. So, Jordan, you're never gonna guess who is set to return to the MCU.
Chris Evans.
No.
Well, okay. It other than Tony Stark. I mean, Doctor Doom.
No.
Okay, then it's Thor.
No, it's James Spader, Jordan. He's coming back as Ultron in a new Disney Plus Vision television show. That Vision Quest or whatever the hell it was called.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have no strong feelings about that. He was fun as the character, and it could be fun to see him return to it.
It could be, yeah. And maybe in a Vision show, I don't know, kind of seems sort of moderately unceremonious, but yeah, I'll give it a shot. I'll give anything Marvel related a chance.
I will give most things Marvel related a chance.
That's fair. So apparently, the creator of BoJack Horseman, and the animation team who helped create that show, is re-teaming for a new show with Netflix called Long Story Short. And it's set to focus on a family over a period of time. And it zeroes in on shared history, inside jokes, and old wounds. It promises to appeal to anyone with a family.
Is it the same art style as BoJack Horseman? Do you know?
I do not know.
Because it would be kind of fun, kind of cool if it's a different story, but it took place in the same world as BoJack Horseman. That'd be kind of fun.
That'd be kind of neat.
And then you could have a one-off episode where you have it's 10 years after BoJack and the fallout of what happened and everything, and kind of do something. That'd be neat.
Fun. That'd be kind of neat. Sorry, it's that stuttering is really driving me crazy.
There is no stuttering. It's just you. You just had way too much coffee, and you're seeing the world like Fry does in that one episode where he drinks 100 cups of coffee.
You look methed out, and it's really hard to have a conversation with a person who's tweaking out.
But I'm not.
I'm absolutely
not
are.
Out. No, but I can assure you, I'm not tweaking out.
So the trailer for that Lord of the Rings anime.
I'm so indifferent to that show. I watched a little bit of the trailer, and it I don't know. It looks okay. I guess I
think it looks great. I think it looks really pretty. And the animation looks really good, and I think the story is interesting. And I will absolutely go watch that in theaters. It interests me way more than those Hobbit movies did.
But those didn't really interest me either. This doesn't interest me. It's just another medieval fantasy story. I don't really care.
But for me, it's given such Ghibli vibes. It's given that sort of energy. I'm it's totally working for me. The only thing about it
that's giving it way too much praise.
I think it looks good. It really does give me that yeah. I don't know what it is about anime. It just suits fantasy so much more. To me this works. I don't understand.
It's not that I don't think it doesn't work, or that I don't think it looks bad necessarily. It's just boring to me. It doesn't. There's nothing in there. There's nothing in the trailer that I saw from the amount that I watched that makes me go oh my god, that looks so cool. I'm so excited for this. I can't wait. I'm kind of just indifferent.
Yeah, I know. I would totally watch it in theaters. To me it looks interesting. My one thing about it.
With a free ticket, maybe. I'm not spending money on it.
No, we don't spend money on movies anymore anyway. When was the last time we spent money on an actual movie?
Sorry. Alan Wake just commented, the AVP movies. I love them. Just wish the humans weren't in it. The animation looks good, but the story feels predictable.
Yeah, but we're going to get there later, but it works for me in that one. And other ones, not so much. We're going to talk about the Shane Blake movie. Don't you worry.
We'll deep dive into that a bit later on, but I kind of agree with the humans weren't in it comment. That's how I feel about a lot of those.
Yeah, but we're to jump ahead.
We're jumping the shark.
I like the bit of that movie where the predator and the human are forced to team together. I like that bit.
In the first one, you mean? Yeah.
So like, but the
Yeah.
second one, I mean, that movie's bad, but we're gonna get there. No, my one thing about this Lord of the Rings anime though is it's just like it's really
We're not currently looking at us on the screen.
we're not.
No, this looks like it's your Discord.
Dang it! Why is it not showing? Hold on, I'll fix it. I shall fix it. I shall repair the damage.
I think you clicked out of the video
about
or
now?
something.
I did because I was trying to fix the stuttering. What about now?
You're gonna have to wait for it to catch up. I see yes, and what looks like a picture of an alien. Oh, there we go. Now we're back on us.
Yeah, I was trying to fix the stuttering. I did a pop out, which instantly fixed it, and I guess it's just that's not the Discord. I don't know. I couldn't stand the stuttering. It was maintaining a conversation. It was driving me crazy. I don't care if no one else can see it. It was driving me crazy.
Anyway, hey man, I've had to put up with distracting stuff, and I didn't get to have it just be fixed. That's not fair. Anyway, what were we talking about?
Lord of the Rings anime.
Oh yeah, right.
My one thing about that is that it's really forward on the female character.
Yeah, I mean,
Where I'm like, it's gonna make the wrong kind of people angry, and that's the reason why I'm not happy about it. But I'm like, I just appreciate when movies like that take chances, and like that universe could have easily just done another Hobbit. So I'm like, you know what? Good for it for taking a chance of doing something different. It's directed and produced by a Japanese person. Like it's very much an anime. And I respect that. I respect the creative choices.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. And again, I don't have anything against it. I think I'm kind of realizing just generally, it's not the anime part of it that has me not. It's the Lord of the Rings part of it that has me underwhelmed. I'm not a big Lord of the Rings guy.
Yeah, I guess because anime just suits that era of the world, like that the fantasy style. Just anime suits it so much more. Like I say, it really gives me like a Ghibli vibe. It really does.
You're not wrong. I think for me, if it was I think if it was an anime retelling of like the actual Lord of the Rings part of Lord of the Rings, like the stuff I actually know, I think I might be a little bit more interested in that. But I don't care about the lore of that world. I don't care about the backstory or any of the stuff that happened behind. You know,
I don't either. But this movie presents it in a way that's interesting to me. This is an interesting telling of this for me. And from what I read in the comments, it's inaccurate anyway. Apparently the girl.
I have no interest in it one way or the other.
Apparently the girl character is like she's not really much of a thing in anything, and they've kind of really like leaned into her. And the hardcore Lord of the Rings fans are like, they're worried it's not really going to be about the king; it's going to more be about her. And I'm like, here it goes. No, I will absolutely go watch that one in theaters. We'll do a Lord of the Rings episode, and then we can.
Alan Wake said the wolf predator was cool in the second movie. Too bad you could barely see him.
Yeah, again, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Don't worry. Got plenty to say. We got to get through the news first, though. But yeah, I'm into it. I'm into it when like I'd much rather like for that Terminator anime. I feel largely the same way. Do something different and interesting. Like stop doing the same. I'm
way more interested in that than I am in this.
Yeah, I'm interested in this. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about they did a trailer where they talked about the powers in the new Life is Strange game, which looks actually like a video game now instead of just like a movie simulator.
The sequel to Max Caulfield's story?
Yeah. So here are the powers. Yeah. Okay, here we go.
I mean, isn't her powers just time travel?
No, in this one she's got a whole new set of powers. So she's got Pulse. Pulse allows Max to peer through another timeline in real time, displaying the differences as dimensional echoes. These echoes affect people and objects, so she can see exactly what's in front of her before shifting into another timeline. Using Pulse will also reveal points where the veil between timelines is the weakest, allowing Max to physically shift to another reality. This power can be used to solve puzzles or aid in Max's investigation. So, like, an example they use is she needs to acquire an Allen wrench for her friend. And the Allen wrench is in the other dimension. So she has to go hop into the other timeline to get the Allen wrench and then bring it back. And
Interesting.
you can absolutely lose track of which timeline you're in and completely forget and make mistakes in the dialogue. And there's an option where you can turn it on so it'll remind you which dimension you're in. Otherwise, there are moments where she'll completely forget.
Interesting.
Um,
In relation to the Lord of the Rings anime, Alan Wake said, "I don't know how to feel. I hope it's good, but I'll give it a shot. The Lord of the Rings anime looks good."
yeah, I think it looks sweet. I don't know. Like I say, swords
Oh,
and shit.
Terminator anime. I'll give it a shot. Is what Alan Wake
Okay.
meant.
Yeah. That one takes place in like Japan, and it's basically like apparently it's like Judgment Day, but in another part of the world. I'm interested in that one. I kind of for me, I'm at a stage in my life where I much prefer these things be a movie than a television show. But I'm definitely gonna check it out. Probably check it out for this. We'll do a dystopian episode maybe. But yeah, here's my question about that game though. Do you think you think Chloe will be in it?
I think she'll be in one of the universes. I think they'll go
I
think they'll go the route because this lets them cop out. I think they'll go the route of one of the worlds is gonna like the big thing that makes it different is that Chloe is alive,
Yeah,
and one of the
absolutely.
big things is that she's dead.
I
And then
mean,
that way they can say that both endings of the original game are canon and
absolutely.
they don't have to answer.
The only reason why I'm like maybe not is because it takes place at like at her college, so it might. I don't think it takes place in Arcadia Bay this time, but still, I mean, that's a very popular character. Why would you not? Right?
I mean, it doesn't take place in Arcadia Bay. Yeah, okay. In the ending where Chloe survived, Arcadia Bay was destroyed, so she left.
That is fair, but I'm sure
That's
she's
how
gonna
you
show up.
that's how you explain that away. She went with Max to her college and left Arcadia Bay because the destruction was horrifying.
Why else?
That's a very easy thing to explain away.
Why else would you have the mechanic of having two universes, if not to post having an ending with a binary choice? Like that just, it just seems like it just seems like that's where it's leading. And they did a prequel with her, which didn't look very good.
I didn't play it.
No,
because
she didn't have any power, so it was like, what's the point? And then I looked it up, and it's like, nope, it's just Chloe doing Chloe stuff. And I'm like, half of the gimmick of this game is that your character has powers. It doesn't have to be the time travel powers from the first one, but your character has powers. I've never played.
Yeah, especially because the rest of them all have powers.
Yeah, exactly.
And like the color one is her reading emotions.
Yeah.
The brother one, I don't know what the power there is, but I know it has powers.
I think he's just I want to say he's telekinetic.
And then Max Caulfield obviously can jump through reality and time and stuff. Alan Wake says, that's actually pretty interesting, power jumping between reality.
Yeah, that's the coolest thing about the PlayStation 5.
Is the ability to do stuff
to
like
seamlessly load scenes. So yeah, that obviously is them taking off from what they did in Ratchet and Clank. And it was really
which is really good in that game.
Yeah. It's so seamless, and it was disappointing to me that they canceled that. A little disappointed that they canceled that Spider-Man multiverse game.
The multiverse one.
Yeah, because that would have been a similar thing.
But what do we know when this Life is Strange one comes out?
Oh shit. We probably do, but I closed the story.
You gotta stop doing that when we're not done talking about it.
I know. I want to say the end of the year.
Because I'd like to play that one.
I mean, I can just Google it right now. Jordan, entertain the audience while I Google this. Okay, maybe entertain the audience with something constructive.
Well,
I know what we could do.
We watched Aliens.
No, that's too soon. It's too soon. I realized. I never played Life is Strange 2, but I did play the little prequel. I've always wanted to play Life is Strange 2. I just haven't.
I'm pretty sure it's free on the PlayStation Network.
Is it? I might
on PlayStation Plus.
I might have to play it. My thing was always that one I think implies that it was like leading up to a
Avengers.
Yeah, to like an Avengers. Come
on. All I know is that if it's in the same engine and it looks like it is,
It's
if it's in the same
really
as
pretty looking.
colors, then it should be really good because I
October
really like that one.
29th it comes out.
October 29th. That's coming up.
Yeah. No, I genuinely. I mean, I've wanted them to bring that character for like a while now, and I think Life is Strange Colors is probably the best game in that franchise. My favorite bit in that game, and I would totally play a game made by the people who make Life is Strange. I don't like to give away stuff in Life is Strange 2 Colors because that game is really about experiencing the moments individually and organically.
Yeah, it is.
But so spoiler alert, go play that game. I'm going to spoil a section of it. That's my favorite section I've played in a video game in a long time, and it's the LARPing section.
Oh yeah.
I would do a whole game where you're LARPing, where it's like an RPG in an RPG. Like I would do a whole game where it's constructed just like that, made by those people. It would be so much fun.
I've said for a while now that I want a VR game where you're sitting at a table playing D&D with your friends, and it's just you sitting there. It's just you wearing the helmet, sitting there playing D&D. Like have the figures, have the die, like have it where you use your control stick to roll the dice, whole 9 yards. Like I just want that. I've seen people have made made one where you're sitting in a room and you're playing like your N64 and stuff on a TV.
Yeah.
I want something of that nature, but with D&D.
I mean, look, okay. I think you could accomplish that with AI. Like, I've seen responsive
I think so.
enough
I've
AI.
seen some creative stuff.
Yeah, I've seen some responsive enough AI where I'm like, yeah, you could probably replicate people using AI. And for a game purpose. I realized as you were talking that I forgot to hit the timer because I was so frustrated by our technical difficulties. So I don't know how long we've been going. I'm gonna guess probably 10-20 minutes. I'm guessing.
Well, it'll be a fun experiment to see at the end.
I'm gonna have to chop off so much to get to the actual episode. Anyway, sorry. I just thought that was funny. That's a joke only Jordan appreciates. I haven't turned on my light. Man, I'm all out of sorts today.
Yeah, you got to get your head in the game.
Get
your
head.
Big fat bald head in the game.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, you're lucky I can't do Papa Zuli, you know what I mean?
No,
I don't know what I meant either. So Robert Downey Jr., Jordan, he has confirmed allegedly.
Well, is it allegedly or has he confirmed?
He said it. I won't believe it until I see the movie. It's one of those scenarios. But he said that he's not playing a Tony Stark variant. That he will be in fact Victor Von Doom, which is dumb, and I hate it.
Then why does he look like Iron Man then?
That's gonna be the thing. It would maybe bother me less. The reason why it bothers me so much is because this Fantastic Four movie is supposed to be in another universe, and the whole lead up to this is that it's multiverse. So then so you can't just do a thing of he just happens to look like he's just played by a different guy, because going into the multiverse, especially this Doom movie is supposed to be leading into Secret Wars. That's the question. You get like, well, why in this universe is he named Victor Von Doom? Why in this universe does he happen to look like Tony Stark if he's not Tony Stark? Like, it's going to be a thing where he either has a fake name or like he's going to have some connection to Tony Stark in order to have to facilitate the explanation of why he looks like Tony Stark. Unless you're just not going to include a Tony Stark in your multiversal war. Like, this just kind of seems like he says it's because he looked at the character and saw something, but like, it just kind of seems like they're doing this so that they can get him to do
the right amount of money.
Well, it just seems like he's doing this. They want him to do this so that when it comes time to use a Tony Stark variant for Secret Wars, they have him there to do it if they want. That's what this reeks of to me.
Probably.
Like, it's dumb. Dumb, and I don't like it.
I've heard that they're trying to get, what was it, Tom Cruise, I think it was, or something, as an Iron Man variant. Whatever the famous one.
Yeah, they've been trying that since,
everybody.
Go on.
For Secret Wars, though, is what I hear, is that they're trying to get him for that.
Apparently he has no interest, though. But I know. Yeah,
I mean,
they've been trying.
Neither did Robert Downey Jr. in coming back until they offered him the right amount of
the
money.
correct amount of money. Yeah, no, they were trying to get him as far back as that. Yeah, that whatchamacallit, Doctor Strange movie, and they turned him down for that. So you're never gonna guess who's returning. Hollywood legend is finally gonna make his return to the big screen for a horror movie. The legend we talk about him constantly, Tim Curry. He has been retired since 2011 after he had a stroke, and he is coming back to do a movie called Stream, which is pretty cool.
I didn't know he retired.
Yeah, no, he's been in a wheelchair for quite a while.
That's very sad.
Yeah, but yeah, no, good for him. He's back. So
the man's a legend. So I hope only the best for him.
An absolute friggin' legend. He just shows up everywhere, and he's always good. He's always pretty much the best thing he's in. Like even if it's a bad thing. Like I watched. For those of you who watch weekly, I watched Superhero Samurai Squad last week. Which, man, I'm really glad. As an aside, Jordan, this is a bit only for Jordan. I'm really glad that we took that moment to watch it on stream, because it made it so much easier to cut out for the eventual video I made, which is coming, by the way. Look forward to a 2-part video where you can just watch the bit where we talked about Ultraman and Super Sentai. That's coming probably early next week.
Early 2025. Got it.
Yeah. But anyway, he's good in everything. Even in bad shows from the 90s that he was in for some reason. So apparently that Friday the 13th prequel series is moving forward. They've hired a showrunner, which...
Wait, what?
Yeah, they're making a Friday the 13th prequel series. I don't know what it's going to be about. I'm assuming...
Why?
Because people are dying for some Friday the 13th. Jordan, what will you learn? That there's never going to be an answer for why. You constantly ask why. I'm
baffled by some of the
I'm interested in that. I'm interested in
that are getting made. Well, no, who needs you don't need a prequel for him. He got drowned at a summer camp. That's the prequel. How you turn that into an entire show?
You make it about Pamela Voorhees. I would love to. I would totally watch. It's not gonna be, but I would love to watch a Bates Motel style like retelling of her origin and explain.
Thank you, Alan Wake. I agree. Friday the 13th prequel. Why? We already know what happened. Thank you.
Yeah, but I disagree. To be fair, the best Friday the 13th movie doesn't have Jason in it. Like, just flat out. The best. I've watched all of them in a row in a short span, and I can tell you comfortably the best Friday the 13th movie is the first one. And it doesn't have Jason. Pamela Voorhees is a great horror villain. The twist in that movie, if you didn't know it, is great. It doesn't telegraph it at all. It doesn't give it away at all. It's a legitimately good movie, and I would totally watch a 10-episode like miniseries about like how Pamela Voorhees became Pamela Voorhees, because to me she is a drastically underrated horror icon who, if not for her, there is no Jason, so she deserves more respect. So I would fully watch like Bates Motel, where it's like a deconstruction of that character. I would totally watch that. Okay,
so 3 things. 1, you're allowed to be wrong, and you are.
I'm not. I'm not
the best is very. I can't even say it with a straight face because it's not true. I was gonna jokingly say the best one is very obviously Jason X, where he goes to space and becomes like a.
Okay.
I love that one.
Of the bad ones, that's one of my. Okay. We're gonna. In Halloween, we're gonna do some Friday the 13th because George's gotta watch some of the bad ones.
Legitimately, I think Freddy versus Jason is probably the best one. And then Alan Wake says just do a Freddy versus Jason 2, which I would be down. I would be down for.
Okay, it depends. Like there's 2. Okay, this is a flash forward to our Halloween episode when when one of us will watch. Jordan will probably watch the Jason movies. I'll probably watch the Halloween movies because I haven't actually seen all of those. Anyway, that's way in the future. But the best goofy one is either Freddy versus Jason is the Avengers for those characters. Like it just is.
Yeah, it's really good.
But also, it's not in terms of a good movie. It's not a good movie. The best actual like this is a good movie is the first one. In terms of the silly ones, I don't know. Some of the later ones are I think I said the best one is number 7. The The best one that doesn't like I put the first one and then the rest of them into two kind of separate categories. And the best one of the rest of them is, in my opinion, number 7, because that one has the best Jason kill. Which is that's the one where it's basically Carrie versus Jason, and it has the best Jason kill where he lets this guy escape, like builds up fear in him, and then finds him and then kills him with a weed whacker. It's honestly.
Well, that's why I like the later ones, like all the ones, is because the ridiculous kills are what make that series so fun.
I will
so,
say,
like, yeah, the first one's okay, but it doesn't get fun until you bring Jason in, and it gets crazy.
Two different kinds of movies, but like this turned into a Friday the 13th thing. But real quick, we'll get back on track. Jason X does have my other most favorite kill, which is when he's in the simulator, and it turns and there's the 2 hot girls, and it cuts away to some other character doing something else, and it cuts back, and he's just got them in the sleeping bags, and he's just beating them to death with the sleeping bags.
I love that one.
That's legitimately
so
funny. That's legitimately funny. Like, I will acknowledge, like, those movies. That's kind of the period where they were like, no, these
like
nobody was taking slasher flicks.
They lean into the insanity, which is what I love about those.
I'm pretty sure that's pre-Scream when they weren't taking slasher flicks. We'll talk about slasher flicks in October. But I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I would totally watch a more dramatic. But that's not what this is probably going to be. You can't do Friday the 13th without Jason. So it's going to involve Jason in some capacity. It'll probably be a thing of like it'll take place between 1 and 2. Because at the end of 1, you find out that he's still alive, and then in 2, he's now a fully grown adult. So it'll probably be like what happened to him between whatever and whatever.
Yeah, probably.
So okay, so they showed a trailer for that Sonic Sonic Generations game, and they revealed a bunch of Did you see them reveal a bunch of Shadow's new powers? Where he's got Doom powers now?
I know that he's got like wings in one of them.
So you saw Shadow with wings.
Yeah.
So, Jordan, do you think will we see Shadow with wings in the movie?
Probably.
You think so? You think that's a version of the character that we're gonna see?
I mean, I could believe it. So, also, Alan Wake says, I don't mind Jason, but I prefer Freddy, Chucky, and Jigsaw to him.
Oh, see, I don't like Freddy. I love Chucky, but Chucky, when you stop and think about it, he's not really that scary once you know he's alive. Like, that's my thing with Chucky. Once you find out he's a person and he's alive, he's just in the body of a doll. He kind of just becomes a run-of-the-mill serial killer. Plus, he's a doll. I'm pretty sure I could drop kick him across the room. Like, he's just not that scary. Sure, Freddy is scary, more scary because he's kind of inescapable in a sense. You have to go to sleep eventually, but I don't like him because he's weird and gross, and the pedophile thing. Not a fan of that.
That's fair.
Jason to me is the most honorable because Jason doesn't kill dogs or animals, and he doesn't kill children. Like, there's a scene in a later movie where he runs into a kid and he specifically lets him go. Jason only goes for people who deserve it. Well, who he feels deserves it, but he doesn't go for the innocent. And that's what separates him from Freddy for me. So for me, it's always going to be Jason. Jason is always going to be my favorite. But also, I'm not a huge Michael Myers fan. This year I think I will finally do that Halloween marathon I say I'm going to do every year. That's probably what I'll do for the Halloween special we do. We just missed.
Alan says true that,
Yeah.
and then he says technically Chucky still has the strength of a fully grown human man.
Okay, but does it? I tried to look this up. Do they ever actually confirm that he has the proportional strength of a human man? Because from what I saw, because I did a marathon of those movies fairly recently because I want to watch the show. It doesn't look like he does. There's a lot of just girls just tossing him around like he has the weight of a doll. So he doesn't seem as he's represented. But I was always like, do the movies ever establish that he has the proportional strength of a regular man?
To be fair, weight is different than strength. So they might be able to toss him around. But if he got their hands, I've never seen these. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
But if he got his hands wrapped around your neck, for example, he might then still have the strength, and you wouldn't be able to get him off.
To be fair, I've only seen the first 3. I haven't seen Bride of Chucky or Seed of Chucky. Oh no, sorry, I've also seen Cult of Chucky. But that's
I've never seen it. I've never seen any Chucky. I'm just mostly playing devil's advocate.
Yeah. And so next up, stay on track. Apparently they canceled The Acolyte, and I am fucking bummed about that. I hate that they gave in to the people who were never going to be happy anyway.
That's kind of my thing. My thing is like I like The Acolyte,
It
and
wasn't
there were
perfect.
things in there. There were things in there that I was interested to see where they would go with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Overall, I didn't have any major issues with the show. I wasn't like in love with it or anything,
Yeah.
but I didn't have any major issues. My thing that I find irritating is less that it got canceled and more that it got canceled because they can't commit to anything.
I know.
Like
because,
they can't make a choice and stay the course, and that irritates me more than a bad choice.
right. My
like-
thing was because they're trying to appeal again. They're trying to appeal to a group of people that will love
They're
a trailer.
they're trying to appeal to everybody, and you can't appeal to everybody.
No,
You have to.
They're not trying to appeal to everyone. They're trying to appeal to the, as anyone would call, was many people have dubbed them the fandom menace. Like the people who they love trailers. They love trailers. They bitch about every little detail. They were like, oh, the people who bitched that Cal Mundy was in this show. Like, who cares? Like, who cares about little? I mean, to be fair, I did at one point, which is why I don't get totally mad. But you can't
about which one? Sorry.
the fact that Caddy, I was mess up his Caddy Mundy, the guy with the big head dude.
Conehead.
Yeah, he's in the show. He's one of the Jedi.
Cal Al-Mundi, I think.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. Whatever his name is.
People were mad that he was on that show because they were like, oh, but he says he didn't know about the Sith, but he clearly does. And but yeah,
Alan Wake didn't really care for it.
And canceling it denies it the opportunity to improve. And I think there was interesting ideas in there.
That's
Anyone
one
who
of the
says
big
it's a bad
things,
show is wrong, just flat out.
That's one of the big things, and one of the points that I've seen thrown around a lot is it's like for most shows, like even so, for example, to bring it to Supernatural, I love Supernatural. That show is on for 15 seasons.
Sorry, Jamie and Kelly, but that first season's not very good.
Did not.
I love
care
you
for that
guys,
first
and
season.
I love that show, but it takes a season or two to get good.
You really had to be like, get through that first season and it gets good. And you're right, it does. And canceling a show in the first season denies it the opportunity to get to that third or fourth season where it finds its feet.
Yeah, absolutely.
And gets better.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like,
and again, there's just also the fact that I can accept if you make a bad movie and be like, yeah, it's a bad movie, but at least commit to it. So for example, to bring it back all the way to the sequel trilogy, I didn't like a lot of the choices that they made in that second what was it, Last Jedi or whatever, the second one.
Yeah.
I didn't like a lot of the choices that they made in that one, but then to completely coward and in the third one course change yet again.
Yeah.
and at least
again to appeal
to
the fandom menace, the people who you were never going to make happy anyway.
At least stick to your choices.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily like your choices, but I would respect you more.
Yeah. These people, they see a trailer and they love a trailer for about 5 seconds, and they watch an episode of a show that's kind of a little complex and maybe challenges their ideas of the franchise, and then they throw a hissy fit. And I'm not saying every Star. I'm not saying that there's not stuff to criticize in that show. There is.
Oh yeah,
but
there is.
What happened to shows? What happened to things just being all right? It's okay. Again, everything's so binary now. It either has to be bad or good. Things can be okay, and this was an okay show that could have had a good second season.
My thing too is I understand. Okay, for the fan, what would you call them? The fandom menace.
The fandom menace, yeah.
For the fandom menace to be okay, in my mainstream movies, I want my plain slice of bread to be plain and a slice of bread
with a little bit of butter on it. Yeah,
check all the boxes for the major movies. That's fine. I can understand and appreciate that, right? Sometimes you just like your plain bread with your toast.
Absolutely,
you like your plain white toast
with a little bit of butter on it. Yeah, absolutely.
But with the shows, that's the Star Wars franchise's opportunity to try stuff that's different,
get weird.
Especially when you're not in the main era, like when you're in
Yeah.
the old Republic era or you're in the High Republic era.
Exactly.
That's to me when you do take those chances.
Absolutely, yeah. This is
and
the
you do
space where you
things that
do
are
the
different.
weird shit, and then you're like, yeah, it's 1,000 years in the past. Of course, this stuff no longer exists. Like that's when you do the weird shit. Like,
Yeah.
you're right. That's what television should be for experimentation. Here's my question about the Star Wars franchise: why is it the Lego is doing the most interesting stuff? Like that's my
Right?
question
Oh,
about Star Wars right
I'm very
now.
excited for that
I'm
alternate reality
so
one.
excited for that miniseries. It looks so good. And when I watched that trailer, I'm like, why isn't this in live action? Like, why isn't this like a live action thing? I would watch this in live action. This is so much more interesting than like an Ahsoka show or like
because the people that are making it feel like the live action stuff has to be like heavy and serious and like.
But you're right.
Deeply.
Like the movies is where you do that stuff. Like, yeah, like the biggest thing I'm excited for Star Wars is that Taika Waititi Star Wars movie, because that will be weird and different. And that's what Star Wars needs. Stop being so rigid. Like yeah, you can break some rules, a little, like the occasional rule, as long as you don't break the universe, or like just like we did with Obi-Wan. Let it go and just accept that this thing isn't gonna make sense. Like I think you have to hit a point when you do that.
It's its own reality. Like that's my thing with a lot of the things that I don't like. I'm like, okay, well then in my head canon, this isn't canon to the main universe.
Right.
You can just enjoy a thing as its own thing.
Right. Well, we used to be able to do that. We can't do that so much anymore.
We can't do that anymore, apparently, with Star Wars.
And then I have two more stories, but they pertain to Alien Romulus. So we'll just end the news and we'll fold them into Alien Romulus. I'll see if they're worth mentioning. With that ends. That ends the news. I don't know how long the news went on for. That felt like a long time. My timer is all freaky.
I don't know, but what I can say is that Alan Wake likes most of the DC CW shows.
They were good at one point, and then they weren't very rapidly, but they were good. Okay, my opinion of the DC CW shows is it should have ended with Crisis on Infinite Earths. After Crisis on Infinite Earths, none of those shows were covered. None of them. The big problem is Crisis on Infinite Earths created a universe-wide continuity. So like now all the shows exist on the same Earth, right? Like you remember like the Flash and Supergirl were on different worlds, right?
Yeah, I do. And then I remember that it was suddenly they weren't.
Yeah. So then after Crisis on Infinite Earths, they were on the same universe. Well, each of the shows, because they're written by different people and they didn't all coordinate with each other, all had different rules for what exactly that meant. So like Supergirl had a different set of rules for the doppelgangers than the Flash did, and ne'er did they. And all of those shows just kind of petered out. I kind of stopped watching most of them. I would check back in on the Supergirl, and I was like, I feel so lost. I don't even know where to. I got so far behind, and then the Flash, I watched it up until I finished Arrow. I liked how Arrow ended. I think that show ended. That last season is genuinely really good. It's nice and short, so it allows them to really, really focus. And it has a nice ending. The Flash, I watched it up until the second to last season, and the second to last season was the hottest of garbage. There was the last time I got mad at a show, like truly angry. It was so bad that I didn't want to. We lost Netflix, and I didn't feel like going out of my way to watch it, so I've never finished it. I looked up the ending; it's bad. Anyway,
yeah, I've never finished any of them, so
it's bad. And then poor Legends of Tomorrow, probably the best show of the bunch, got unceremoniously canceled and didn't get a series finale. Which is a fucking travesty because the rest of them did. Supergirl got a series finale. Flash, they all got a series finale.
Apparently, Batwoman was according to Alan Wake.
Was Batman. That was kind of the point where I was like, "There's too many of these shows, and I cannot be bothered." Number one thing, Jordan. What do we constantly say on this show, Jordan? What's our show's like motto? Who say it with me now, Jordan? You're not saying it with me. Who cares about a Batman-less television show?
Batman-less television show.
Make a goddamn Batman live-action show. Just do it already.
Apparently, Alan Wake likes Ruby Rose as her.
I don't know. I was so indifferent to that show. I
was mainly into Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow is the best show of the bunch. Like second and like third season of that show, when they introduce magical creatures and it's like sci-fi meets science fiction, it kind of becomes like this weird, wacky, like Doctor Who esque kind of comedy. It's very funny. It's a genuinely funny show, and there's some it's honestly
I
probably
I
the
never
best of
watched
the
that
bunch.
one.
It's genuinely
The only
good.
two that I ever really got into was Supergirl and The Flash, and
And
I
The
never
Flash.
finished either of them.
You tried to do Arrow, and I don't know. I kept being like, just you gotta stick with it. Like that was a
And it's
show
just
where it was
never-
like by season 3 when they introduced metahumans. Like the worst thing that show did was in the later seasons. It tried to focus back on the like the normal stuff, and it was like you can't do that. You already uncorked the bottle.
Yeah, no,
Um,
never got into that one. I tried. I honestly tried, but
No.
it just never did it for me.
But with that, it's time to do the sponsorship spot of the show. And Jordan, let me ask you a question, Jordan. Do you have an award-winning podcast?
I do.
You do.
I exclusively do. It's just me.
Jordan,
I'm definitely not part of a duo.
Jordan, and let's say that you needed a trophy to tell your friends and your family that you were on an award-winning podcast. Where could you go to do that?
I mean, I would go to trophysmack.com and use our link in the description to go and look at trophies. They've got rings, belts. You can do custom engraving. They do fantasy sports leagues. They do stuff for losers. They do wall art. And the important thing is that if you click our link, you help them, you help us, you help us all.
You could maybe get yourself one of these guys, which we have received for our award-winning podcast, the Spur of the Moment podcast. Jordan's special birthday episode. Go check it out. It's online right now. And you can get yourself one of these guys. Check out the quality on this bad boy. See, don't you love how it shines in my ring light? Look at that. Look at the shine. It's so clean. It comes with a little thing on the back so you can hang it and display it on your wall and tell your friends and family you're the best. They don't have to know that you bought it for yourself. They don't have to know that. They could fully believe that you got it organically. They don't have to know that you purchased it from trophysmack.com utilizing our link in our description right now, the first link. They don't know that. They don't have to know that. You can have a trophy like this on your wall. And
if you're part of a fantasy sports league and you guys are just like doing it for like what, like bragging rights? No, why do that when you could just have an actual trophy and be like, this is what we win if your team wins.
I've been told that the prize for this year's podcast of the year is a belt. And I'm saying the belt apparently is too heavy to hang on a wall. We'll find a way. We will find a way.
I want that belt.
We're coming for the belt. Jake! We're coming for the
belt. For that belt.
We're coming for the belt. That's trophysmack.com, please. Yeah. Click the link in the top link in the description. Go check them out. They make cool shit. They really do. I've seen the belts. Jake has a couple of the belts. They're really cool. Like they honestly are. They're good quality
rings, stuff. Trophies, trophy toppers, you can find it all.
Anything that tells your friends that you're the best, or if you want to tell your friends that they're losers, you can do that too. Trophysmack.com. On with the show, Jordan.
On with the show, Justin.
Alan Wake, buddy. If you're still hanging out, we're gonna talk about some Alien versus Predator. Jordan, I'm gonna give you the choice.
I mean, we're gonna talk about Alien. We're gonna talk about Predator. We're gonna talk about Alien versus Predator.
We're talking about all of them, every single one. Now I prepped Jordan earlier in the week by being like, do you want to do this just chronologically? But I did have the thought, Jordan, do you want to do Alien Romulus first or at the end? You want to make them wait till the end? You want to make them wait?
We'll make them wait. They gotta stay till the very end to get to that baby.
Okay. Then we're doing this chronologically then. Well, as chronologically as we can muster. I think we might leave the Alien versus the Predator to the end.
I figured that we would do like chronologically,
Alien,
but back and forth. Yeah. Alien,
okay.
Predator, Alien, Predator, Alien versus Predator.
Notes. Okay, I'm opening up my notes because some of these names are samey. For me, let's begin with Alien because that's kind of the genesis of this everything.
Yeah. It sure is old.
It is very much a science fiction horror movie from the 1970s. So it's quite slow. It's quite deliberate. I think I don't know who I saw it. I don't know if it was Ridley Scott, the director. I saw someone say this about it, and they said it's a haunted house movie that takes place on a spaceship, basically.
Interesting. Yeah, I could see that. My one thing, and so this is something I wanna preface this right from the start with the Alien movies is, to me, there's two. It's funny that you say with the horror movies or with the Jason movies that there's like two different kind of Jason movies.
Yeah.
Um, with Alien, I feel the same thing. There's two distinct categories of Alien movies. One is the more slow horror, like build up, like that kind of one,
Yeah.
and one is the action series that is
Absolutely.
like about the aliens, and it's more like the Predator movies, and it's like, so there's two distinct categories, and this first one very much goes in the horror category because
Yeah.
it's slow, it's methodical, it builds up to the alien showing up, and you either love that or you hate that, and I hate that. I
Yeah.
do not like that. I am more in the camp of, I prefer the action, the James Cameron action style. It's a Predator but with aliens kind
Yeah.
of style
I
of these.
tend to agree
I
with
find
that.
those way more fun and way more interesting to watch.
Well,
But I
because
appreciate the slower ones for what they are.
like fundamentally, it's just an animal. I mean, it's a slightly more interesting animal than a regular animal, a slightly more dangerous animal, sure, but it's still an animal. So it's not.
Yeah.
I think you said a similar thing, a really astute thing last week about the kaiju in Ultraman, and I think it kind of is a similar idea here, where yeah, by like movie 7. I've kind of
It's
seen
just
this
another,
before.
like,
I've seen it
yeah.
get face hugged. I've seen it, and so it's about how do you make that interesting. But this was definitely a movie for me. I didn't watch it this week, but I've watched it fairly recently. It's one of those ones where you're watching it and you're like, I get it. I get why this is iconic. I get why
Yeah.
so much borrow from this. I still love H.R. Geiger's designs. I love how the
I
xenomorph
mean,
looks.
especially for for the 1979 when it came out, the puppetry is very
Oh,
good.
it's
Like
very good.
it's absolutely creepy, and it absolutely, they do a good job for the time.
My thing.
I just have an issue generally speaking, and this isn't against Alien, but I have an issue generally speaking where, as a movie gets older, I find it harder. It makes it's harder for me to engage with it as a person
Ah,
in
see,
modern
yeah,
times.
fair enough. I don't have that issue.
Um, but um, sorry, Alan Wake. When you say you like both, do you mean you like both the styles of it being the slow horror and the action, or do you mean you like both Alien and Predator?
I like both. I mean,
I
generally
do like.
speaking.
I appreciate both. I just prefer it in like the more action style of movie. I find it more
And
engaging.
my thing is like, okay, my thing with a lot of these science fiction movies that were started in the night, and this is going to be a thing that we're going to come back to probably a few times, but there's a lot of characteristics of the alien that it's locked into because that later filmmakers are clearly feel stuck with because it's a function of the fact that like, okay, so it has acid blood. To answer the question, why don't you just shoot it? Like, because if you shoot it, then it'll bleed and you'll get sucked down to the vacuum of space, or like,
Yeah, that's why it's on a ship.
yeah.
Alan Wake says, I guess it's an animal. Technically, going by current lore standards, it's a bioweapon, though.
Yeah,
Rather.
well, I mean, within the context of this first movie, it's still basically an animal. It hasn't really evolved. And to be fair, we're gonna get there when we get to Alien, Romulus, and Prometheus. But the idea of I have a similar opinion of the Predator, where it's like the more you explain it, the less interesting it becomes.
Yeah, there's also, just for me, the more you explain it, the less it makes sense, if that
Also,
makes sense.
this yes, it
Um,
absolutely makes sense, and also just the aesthetic of it's like it all looks like the 1970s because it takes place in our 1980s or whatever, because they made it in the 1980s. So
yeah.
now that universe is like stuck, so you're like, well, I live in 2024 and all my shit looks more advanced than that, so like, what's the deal? Like, you weren't thinking about that in 1980, but you are now. It's an unfortunate consequence of time.
Well, and what makes it frustrating in regards to that is, like, they've rebooted this.
Yeah,
I would argue that Prometheus was basically a reboot.
pretty
That was
much.
your opportunity to make stuff look more more
Yeah,
modern and more,
absolutely.
and like,
But like
then
in
going
this first
forward, you
movie,
could have just continued to do that.
but
But what's funny about this movie though is, I would have, what they should call it is Alien dash. This is why you don't break medical quarantine.
Yeah, this is why you should
Like that's what the
listen to
movie. That's what the movie should have been called. Because had they just listened to Ripley and not let the infected on board, that would have been it.
We wouldn't have been having this conversation.
Movie would have been solved.
But yeah, it's one of those things where like they just there's a vague evil corporation who they work for. Where in this movie, that's not really the point, and it doesn't really matter. But the longer the franchise goes on, the more you have to explain it. So it's like it's just yeah. Which again, we're gonna get to. But anyway, did you have anything further you wanted to say about the first Alien movie?
I mean, you got to start somewhere, and it's
Like I say,
iconic. It's iconic for a reason.
Yeah, it's iconic
is what I
for a
would say.
reason. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they all are in their own way iconic for a reason. So I guess that means first Predator movie.
Alan Wake, Alien, don't touch or go near random things on a planet.
Right?
Yeah, that really is the summation of these
Like,
movies.
all
I
of
have
these
so
movies?
many
Why touch
so
that?
many comments.
Don't touch that.
So that's the first Alien movie.
So first Predator movie. Here's my big hot take of the episode. I don't think those movies are particularly good. And my big hot take is nobody would remember the first Predator movie if Arnold Schwarzenegger wasn't in it.
I mean, here's what I'll say.
That's my big thing with
in
that movie.
in terms of the overall Predator, I think they're more interested than Alien. Personally, because they're sentient alien beings who are intelligent, it makes them more of an adversarial force than the aliens, than more interesting, because they like, for example, in some of them, you can add a personality to them. So like in like, for example, the Alien, we're going to jump ahead here for a second. In the Alien versus Predator movie, when you have the alien team up with the human, it has kind of a personality, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like
My thing
it can emote and it can emote and display things. Whereas the alien is just always the same. It's always just an alien.
Yeah. But I will say though, with the Predator, much in the same way as the Alien, the more you explain it, the worse it is, and we're going to get to that. When you pare it down and you make it simple and you make it just a haunted spaceship movie, I think it's added. So this is a similar thing of like when it's just the Predator, he's been dropped in a random place and he's just hunting people, which is what this is. It's more effective. It's just them running around a jungle. Like they went out into the jungle for like a couple of days in like some South American country, and they got a really bad looking costume, and like they do kind of establish that it's a bit more honorable than just your typical, and that's kind of what makes it different. But it's just this one is like, it's all right. It's not the most interesting one in my opinion. Not the most well acted one.
I agree with Alan Wake. Predators are far more interesting because there's more to them.
Yeah, but again, and we're gonna get there. There's a line you can cross where there's too much to them.
I don't disagree, but in this episode, it's Alien versus Predator.
Oh, I forgot to mention up top. We're gonna do, at the end of it, we're gonna do a definitive ranking. We will not be questioned. We are right. It's the definitive ranking of these movies. We will be definitive.
But in terms of interest, like, factor, yeah, the Predators again are, for lack of a better word, people.
I was gonna say, here's what I was gonna say.
Whereas the aliens are just, they're animals, and after the third hunting of the same animal, which is why they obviously why they attribute the Predator's ability to like, they look different depending on what they burst from, is because then it allows them to visually have different looking aliens, but they still act the same.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, no matter what they look like, they act the same. Whereas the Predators, I don't know. To me, they're just more interesting.
But yeah, the Predator movies, they are very, in my opinion, I was gonna say they do this, but they kind of do this, because that last one before Prey, not good. Anyway, I don't have much else to say about Predator. It's all right. It's very much a case of it's locked into stuff later in that it sets up now, that's locked into for the rest of the franchise. So like, the fact that it turns invisible is it makes the fight sequences just not interesting. because they it's not at a point where it looks good on camera yet. So like it's just kind of shooting at nothing, and it's clearly a function of like hiding the costume.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But it's a thing that later movies do eventually do interesting stuff with. But at this point, it just doesn't look good. Also, like this is another example of, because it's the first one, you don't have to explain anything yet, and it doesn't matter. But anyway, that's Predator 1. That's all I had to say about Predator 1. Aliens. It's not Alien 2. It's Aliens.
It's Aliens.
It's the best alien movie. They're just like, you know what this franchise needs. That movie, if never a example of sequelitis did exist, it's that movie. Because some executive went, it's every time I see a movie like that, I'm like, I just picture the bit from 22 Jump Street where it's Ice Cube being like, just do it again, but do it again, but bigger. Like just do the same thing but bigger. So there's more aliens now. There's more than one. There's a bunch of them. There's a ton of them.
But yeah, no, Aliens. So it's funny because it pretty much, it's 57 years after the first one, and then in this one, the big evil corporation now knows about the aliens, and they want them so that they can make them into biological weapons, and there's more of them, and it's fun. You get to see more of them. It's less of a one is stalking them like a panther, and it's more like a army of them is trying to murder them, and it's just over the top and ridiculous.
That's my thing with the xenomorph is it irritates me when these movies call them the perfect specimen, because they're not. They're very easy to kill. There's one thing that prevents them from being killed, and it is only dangerous when they're in a spaceship. But when they're on like a planet, it's not really that dangerous. These things are super easy to kill. Like they mow down a bunch of them in this movie, and like they don't care. And one could maybe argue that ruins the first movie. I've seen some people argue that online, but yeah, it's annoying when you're an alien Romulus and there's a character like, oh, the perfect specimen. No, they're not. They're so easy to kill.
Well, but
if they were bulletproof, that'd be a very different conversation.
Let's clarify here, though. What you're saying is they're not the perfect hunter, which is what they do say in some of these movies. But they are the perfect from a biological. You want to take what makes them and like change other beings to be similar. Biologically, they are a very good specimen because they lay an egg in any species and can be born into any situation. The gestation part of it,
sure, but like when they're like, oh, they're invincible. They're not invincible.
To be fair, that's what the scientists want, is the gestation thing. That's what they want.
Yeah.
Like that's
but it's not how it's presented in these movies.
The hunting ability and the ability to kill and stuff, that's kind of an added bonus. But like largely what these corporations want is the gestation stuff.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
Yeah. But no, for the Marines and obviously a lot of the technology. I mean, a lot of people say this is James Cameron's best movie.
I'm not sure about that, but
what's his best movie then?
I mean, you're gonna laugh.
Did you say Avatar?
No, actually, I was gonna say Titanic.
Okay. That's okay.
Honestly, I was gonna say Titanic because I think that's it. I mean, it's prolific for a reason.
It's definitely a movie for everybody. I think that is sort of indisputable.
It's got a little bit. I mean, it's got the cheesy romantic stuff.
Yeah.
It's got people dying in a boat crash horrifically.
Yeah. No, it does. It does have a little bit of everything for everyone. That is true. Jordan, did you have anything else you wanted to say about Aliens?
Well, I'm gonna jump ahead just for a second here. I do think it's funny that they spend this entire movie trying to save the little girl just for her to be dead in the next one.
Whoa! Spoilers for those of you who haven't seen Aliens 3, Jordan.
I'm spoiling all of these. You guys best get on that program because this entire episode is spoilerific.
So, Predator 2.
Yeah.
Predator 2. Predator 2. Okay, so here's the deal with Predator 2. I like it more than Predator 1. And it's definitely, I would love to see a remake of, like a modern remake of this. Because they made a game of it where it's essentially him hunting in a city, and I love the idea.
Not Terminator 2, Alan Wake. Predator 2.
Oh yeah, Terminator 2. That's a Jimmy Cameron one. I always forget about that. Anyway, Predator 2. There's a really fun Predator game called, I think it's called Predator Proving Grounds or Hunting Grounds, and it takes place in a city. And I like the idea of the Predator as like this vigilante. Also, I didn't read any of the comics establishing any lore, so I'm gonna probably say lore questions. Don't fucking at me. I really like this movie. I like it. This is the idea. This is the notion, or where Predator's got the idea of hunting bad people who deserve it. I like that most of the kills are just guys who deserve it in this movie.
Oh yeah.
It's got Donald Glover in it, and he's sorry, not Donald Glover, Danny Glover. He's really fun. I think Gary Busey is in it very randomly, and yeah, just the idea that he doesn't. This is where you assign. I think. Maybe they established that Predator doesn't kill innocent people in the first one, but this is kind of where they sort of develop the idea that he only goes for you if you're aggressive.
If you have a weapon.
Yeah, if you have a weapon. And
they give the Predator honor, basically.
Basically. And this is also where they kind of establish the idea that they've been coming here a lot. Which will come back later, which is really kind of interesting in the way that comes back. But again, it's just a lot of like these ones are a little better. They try too hard to hide the costume, I think, and I'm really glad that later movies kind of stopped doing that, because it makes action sequences and fight sequences just decidedly less interesting looking when I can't see shit.
Yeah, well, that's something that it's funny when you say that the first one is in the jungle and stuff. I was gonna say at least yours is probably like not dark 70% of the time, which a lot of these alien movies it's dark and I can't tell what's going on.
Yeah, that is fair. That is totally fair. I just don't have a ton to say about these first two Predator movies. It's just they're all right. There's nothing really all that interesting. It's the later ones where the interesting shit comes, and some other stuff we're gonna talk about. So that's it. That's all I got.
At least yours get more interesting and better. Mine get worse.
Yeah, they kind of do, don't they? Until they get better.
Until they eventually peter off and get okay again. We have to track our way through quite a number of either just okay or flat out bad ones. Shall I talk about Alien 3?
Yeah, go ahead and talk about Alien 3. I just wanted to see if it'll show me. It's not going to show me.
So, Alien 3 takes place immediately after Alien 2. And she crash lands on the prison planet. There's an alien dog. Like which is actually kind of the most upsetting kill of the movie, because I like dogs more than
we haven't talked about chest bursting. Man, chest bursting is unpleasant. Like that scene in the first movie. We didn't talk about that. That's an iconic thing we didn't talk about. Where allegedly
Infinite Me's. Sorry, I just saw you change to the other screen.
Yeah, because I wanted to see how long we've been streaming for, and it doesn't show me.
But Alien 3, yeah, the chest bursting is unpleasant. It's always unpleasant. It's always going to be unpleasant. But Alien 3 so far probably has the most unpleasant one, because it comes from a dog, and I like dogs more than people.
Yeah, that is fair. Yeah. I mean, again, that's another example in that first movie, though, of just solid, to go back to it, solid puppetry work when it bursts out of John Bishop's chest in the first movie. Oof.
Yeah. Alan Wake says Predator 2 was okay.
It's okay.
And then says, Resurrection was good. Partially alien human Ripley was fun.
Yeah.
That is not what we're talking about yet. We're not there yet. We'll get there.
We'll get to
Alien 3 though. Alien 3 though, we're on an alien planet.
Yeah,
and
I forgot about Alien 3.
Or prison planet rather. And it has Tywin Lannister from Game of Thrones. He's in that movie.
Charles Dance, yes he is.
Who he is, it doesn't matter, Justin. But he's in this movie.
Just real quick, it's funny. The reason why I wanted to look it up, because I'm looking at our timer, and it says we've only been going for 48 minutes, and I'm like, there's no way that's possible.
I don't think that's true.
That can't be possible. So we must have been going for at least 20 minutes before, 20, 30 minutes before I turned the timer on.
Sorry, I'm trying to see if I can tell. According to this, we've been at it at an hour 14.
Okay, that's about normal. Okay. Sorry, I like to know so we don't go wildly, because it'll my timer will say like 2 hours and it'll be whoa. What's happening?
Yeah, right? Poor dog, Alan Wake. Poor dog. Yeah, no kidding. The thing chest bursting out of the poor dog,
Oh,
upsetting. But
that's okay.
yeah, it's.
Sorry,
I
Jordan.
don't know. These alien movies, in my opinion, kind of at a certain point are all of relative quality. So I don't want to say that it's
Sorry.
like the worst movie I've ever seen or anything, but it's fine.
Sorry, Jordan. I on the stream it's gonna look real batty here for a second because for whatever reason.
Yeah, it's infinite me's again. Technical difficulties.
That was weird.
What are you doing?
I lost you. It just put it out. It said video error.
Oh, that's weird.
I know, but it still counted me talking to you, so I don't know what just happened there. I can still hear you. I just couldn't.
I can hear you, but I can't see you. You're a black square, black swirly screen.
That's
And then on the video, it's just you jumping through a bunch of stuff. Sorry if you're still here, Alan Wake. Technical difficulties.
yeah. We've been experiencing technical difficulties all day. What the hell? It just said it switched me over to OBS and it was like
Ooh,
recording
the
error.
sound just jumped in loudness.
Really? Weird. Is that because I'm not on the Yeti? Oh, it's because I'm not on the Yeti.
Now you're quiet again.
Sorry. Yes, fix it.
Alan Wake says prison colony. This time there are no guns, and Ripley has a chest buster in her. Chest buster in her. Yes, that's the third one.
There we go. That's very strange. That was very weird. Because yeah, so am I not recording on OBS anymore?
I don't know, but you're very loud.
Because I'm on the.
And
Yeti.
Paul McGann was in it. Yes, Paul McGann was in it.
Am I very loud?
To me, you suddenly jumped in volume.
Weird.
I'm just turning you down.
Have I not been recording on my Yeti this entire time? That's annoying. Sorry.
Oh, maybe that would explain it.
What?
If you had been on your webcam and you weren't actually using your mic, that would explain why you jumped in volume.
Yeah. I just turned. I switched over to my Yeti. I guess I must not have had the Yeti on.
That explains a lot. Anyways, Alien 3. It's fine.
It's
that's
fine.
kind of that's I mean that's kind of gonna be my opinion on a lot of these.
It's the one I remember the least. That's for sure. I remember the fourth one because the fourth one is weird.
I mean, yeah, I gotta be honest.
The fourth one is where it gets weird.
I have the wiki open for almost all of these because other than some like specific moments, some of the a bunch of the details I kind of have
alien
already
movies.
forgotten.
The details don't matter. Everyone only remembers the weird alien human hybrid from Resurrections. That's the shit they remember.
Alan Wake is agreeing. He was like, it was okay.
It was alright.
It was okay. It was fine.
It was all right.
So I guess my thing though is that this one yet again leans more into the action style.
Yeah.
And less the horror style.
Yeah. I think you're right about that. They all kind of do from this point on.
Well, until you get to Prometheus.
Until you get to Prometheus, yeah.
But that's it. That's Alien 3. I don't unless you have some Revelation type style things to say about it.
All the interesting shit happens in the later ones because that's when it starts getting weird. So, what do I have next? Oh yes, that's right. I have Predators. Came out in 2010, and I used to say that Prey is the only good Predator movie, and then I rewatched this and I clearly had forgotten it. Because it is very good. It's basically Adrian Brody, Topher Grace, Lawrence Fishburne, and I think that's all the people you know. And it's Adrian Brody gets dropped onto a mysterious planet and has no idea. He's fallen. The movie begins with him falling through the air, or whatever. And it turns out that he's been dropped. He's been kidnapped. By a series of super predators who have dropped them onto it as essentially like a game reserve.
Okay, yeah.
And that's kind of a funny thing that
that sounds familiar.
Yeah. It's really good, and it's just sort of funny because the second one was the moment where I was kind of like, you know what, when humans hunt, skin, and debone an animal, it's totally fine, but when the predator does it to a lesser being, it's fucked up and weird.
I mean, you know,
Yeah,
some would say.
But no, this one's quite good. Topher Grace, there's a surprise twist with Topher Grace. That was the one thing I remembered about it. Was like, I swear, there's a thing with Topher Grace. I'm going to spoil the end of this movie where it turns out that all of the people who have been dropped onto this planet are all bad people. Like they're all varying degrees of bad people. And Topher Grace is like, I'm a doctor. I have no idea why I'm here. And the entire movie, he's Topher. You know who Topher Grace is, right?
He's from Third Rock on the Sun, right?
That 70s show. He's Eric Foreman on that 70s show. Venom.
Same show. Yeah.
It's not the same show. Completely different show. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is the one on Third Rock from the Sun.
They're both the same thing. Alan Wake says Predators was great. Gave us a new subspecies of predator alien planet for once.
Yeah. That's where I'm like, oh, they decided instead of coming to us, they bring us to them. And this is where they reveal the super predators for the first time, and that there's multiple tribes of predators. And this is kind of where, in my opinion, I love this movie, and I think this movie is genuinely good. There's a lot of great, it's super violent and bloody, if that's what you're looking for. You get the predator dogs, the first appearance of the predator dogs, and they're pretty cool. And just the idea that they're just big game hunters, and this is their version of bear hunting, which is like they just send out the dogs to chase the prey. It's not really it doesn't require any skill or effort. And that the super predators, they don't care. Like they're different from the regular predators. I had to read about this. I had to look this up, and they're different from the regular predators. The regular predators are the ones who are about the honor and the not getting people who can't fight back and all that stuff. That comes from them. The super predators, there was going to be this idea that basically they were hunting people. They were hunting the best and strongest species. They were dropping them on this planet, and that they would essentially absorb the DNA and become stronger.
Oh, interesting.
But they didn't end up doing it.
What would have been cool in that one is if there was these super, because I don't really remember it that well, but if they had it where there were the super predators, and in this game reserve there were humans, there was normal predators, and they had to team up to defeat the super predators.
I mean, that kind of does happen. Yeah, there's a point at the end where the normal predators and the super predators have like a blood feud, and so they save one, and they team up with it for a bit. And it ends up getting killed, which is always, that happens more than once in these movies, and I never like it. I always kind of wish that the good predator would make it to the end. But yeah, that is a thing that happens.
I did not know that fun fact, Alan Wake. Fun fact: did you know the Berserker Predator in the back mask is officially called Mr. Black?
Feel like I knew that. But I'm going to say I didn't and be like, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know that they were supposed to have names until I read the Wikipedia article.
So it's funny that you say having read up on stuff, because I read a little bit about some other alien stuff, very small amount. And one thing that I found out is that in the video games and stuff, they've had it where essentially we've gone to the aliens' homeworld.
Oh, interesting.
And gotten to see that and like what that looks like. And I'm reading about that, and I'm like, that sounds way more interesting. Why don't we do a movie about that where this the big evil corporation finally finds out where they're from and sends like a battalion or whatever, and have this big action scene where they're trying to invade the planet and the planet is fighting back, and like that sounds way cooler.
It's funny you mentioned that. We were going to talk about that because that's one of the Alien Romulus stories I saved, was about the future of the Alien franchise. So we'll talk about what I think they should do going forward later. But anyway, Predators. Was there anything else I had to say about Predators? This is my main pick, so we should probably do more detail.
Oh, I can't promise I'm gonna do that.
No, it's honestly, I still think Prey's the best one, but this is a strong second one. This is kind of a moment though where I go, it just makes me ask questions about the nature of how predator planets work. And it's like I get that the predator planet, how they're how they work
Their
socially,
hierarchy?
their society, like how does that work? Like, and because we're gonna talk about that, you kind of see it in the background of some of the Alien versus Predator movies, but like stuff like when I googled the predators, they have a name. Like they're not just called predators; their species has a name, and it never comes up in the movies. Like,
Yeah, it's Anchorage or something like that.
no, it's something different. It starts with an L. I don't remember what it is.
I just know that when I looked up the Predalians, it
Hold
said
on.
their name.
I'll look it up now. No, yeah, I looked it up earlier. It's can't remember what they were called, but yeah, it's like revealed in a comic. Shit, sorry, bear with me. Predator species name species name. The Laucha. Why pronounced Yahoocha. Yahoocha. Yautja. Ytucha. Ytucha. Seems unnecessarily difficult to pronounce.
Hence why they're just called the Predator.
Yeah, this is the one where you're like, I'm starting to like, I have questions about how these things work, and it's overcomplicating it. Like, why do these guys just drop them onto plants? Why, how did this work? What are the rules for hunting? Are they not and allowed to do? Like all those kind of questions. I wasn't asking it prior to this moment because it didn't matter in previous movies. But now you're putting me in a situation. You're putting this character in a situation that's a bit more elevated. Yeah, you need to start answering questions, and we're gonna come back to them answering questions later on. That's it for Predators 2010. Good movie. They're all on Disney Plus, by the way. You should check them out.
Oh yeah, all of these. Every single one that I've watched is on Disney Plus.
They're all on Disney Plus.
Thank God. Except for the one in the theaters.
Yeah. But I assume it will eventually.
Probably. So the next one. Important thing about the last one, about Alien 3, is Ripley dies at the end. I forgot to mention that.
And like within the timeline of our universe, I think didn't we discover that this one comes out a number of years later, or 3 or 4 years later?
Alien 3 comes out in 1992.
Yeah.
And Alien Resurrection comes out in 1997.
Wow, so that's 5 years later. That's quite a ways. No wonder it is though. That explains a lot about that movie. So that tells me that they had troubles. That tells me that they either paid Sigourney Weaver great. That explains her presence in that movie because she feels unnecessary to that movie. You could cut her out.
Yeah, you could cut her out. But it's set 200 years after the preceding one,
and it's not.
She's technically Ripley 8. She's a clone.
Yeah, she's
the
not
8th clone.
She's not Ripley. That's the important. And she's weird and horny all the time.
She's a clone of Ripley and an alien queen.
Yep.
Like
my question
together.
Is like, I didn't care enough about the Alien franchise to feel all that upset about it. But like, I have to feel if you are, you hate that, right?
Like, what, that she's a clone?
Just that character generally. I didn't care much for her, and I don't really much care for the Alien franchise.
I mean,
it's like it's not Ripley, and it's just a weird performance.
Yeah, I could see that. It's
hypersexual for some reason.
I have to be honest. At this point, I was starting to fade a little bit. They kind of just start to blend together, and it's hard to care about a character that's not really the character. The character died.
Right.
This is just a clone. What do I care about this character?
Right. And then this is also
kind of my thing.
Up until this newest one, with one of the most upsetting things in Aliens, which is the alien queen, the alien human hybrid that shows up at the end. Please tell me you have a picture so you can refresh yourself with how horrifying it is.
Hold on, let me bring one up because I think I fell asleep.
God, that thing is awful. It was upsetting. I think it was a puppet, so I think it's real. I think it was like a real thing. I don't think it was CGI, and all I remember is just like, oh God, that is upsetting.
Hybrid. I hate typing on this thing. Entertain the audience, Justin.
The alien human hybrid is a genuinely upsetting thing. It was legit. Like I watched it as an adult, and it was like, oof, it haunted my nightmares for a night. It was unpleasant. Is it otherwise right?
Yeah.
Right? Is that not the stuff of nightmares?
Yeah. So the one in
Go Google
Romulus-
it. Go Google it. I can't do everything for you. And also, if you're listening to this, sorry, you're gonna have to Google it.
The
Google's
one
free.
in the
Sorry.
most recent one has to be a callback to that.
I have to believe it is, yeah, in some form or another. I think from what we'll get there, but from what I read, there's a ton of callbacks. Hey, you wouldn't happen to have the Wikipedia?
Yeah, you're right, Alan Wake. Don't know why Alan Wake says don't know why they did the human hybrid thing, but god damn, it's ugly as all hell.
I don't get it back then. I get it now. I get why they did it in the newest one, but in that one, no, it's awful and it looks terrible, and it was a bad. That movie's just bad generally. That's one of those ones where when you're like these movies are of relative quality, I'm like, no, that's not true. That one's a genuinely bad movie. Like
Alan Wake says I kind of feel bad for it in a way.
I mean, yeah, it makes me think of the bit from Family Guy where it's Kermit and Miss Piggy's offspring.
Shirley!
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of.
Sorry, were you saying what you were asking if I had something open
Did you have the Wikipedia open for the new one?
for the new one? Yeah,
Okay, good. So I don't have to.
I have it open. Yeah.
And I realized that probably one of us probably should. Anyway, yeah, that's like to me like the second Alien movie and the first one. Like whether or not I care for the elements of it, like you can't argue that first movie is a well-made movie. That fourth one is a badly made movie. It's a badly made movie. Everyone's like Sigourney Weaver's in it for the paycheck. Like it's just not a good movie.
Yeah. I mean, in a original series, there has to be a worst one.
Yeah, there has to be a worse one.
And this is it.
See, some people said that having not seen Alien Covenant.
I mean,
I've heard people say Alien Covenant is the worst one, but
I argue that in terms of an alien movie, not a movie generally speaking, but in terms of an alien movie, Prometheus is worse than this because this at least has aliens.
fair enough. We're gonna get there.
Yeah, that's next.
So, George, do you want? Wait. Where are we midway now? Are we midway through the Alien movies? I feel like this is the midway point.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, including the one in theater. We have 5 more Alien movies.
5 more. So how many is that? Because I want to do a ranking. I'm trying to decide. Do we want to start the ranking? Do we want to do the ranking at the end, or do we want to do a midway breakdown?
We've done 4 so far.
4 of 9. Not counting the Alien versus Predator movies.
Oh, not including those. Not including those. 1, 2.
I feel like that's it. We got Prometheus and then Alien Covenant left,
5,
right?
6. 7. Not including the one in theater. There's 6.
Okay.
Including the
So we're halfway.
There's 7.
Okay, so
and we've done 4, so we should have about 3 left.
So you want to do a midway ranking? Or you want to wait till the end and do them all?
I think we just wait till the end.
Okay, fair enough. All right, okay.
But you're gonna have to open like a notepad or something so we can actually keep track of our list here.
Oh, I mean, we're just gonna do a rapid fire top 10. We're like top 10 or top 7 or whatever, and I'm gonna be like number 7, and then you're gonna say number 7.
And are we doing them on separate lists or are they all on the same list?
We're gonna do. I think we'll do best Predator movie. We'll do the Predator movies. We'll do the Alien movies, and then we'll decide which of the which of the Alien versus Predator movies is the best one. It's the first one. But we're just gonna skip ahead. It's the first one. The second one's terrible. We could both agree the second one's terrible, right?
We'll get there.
Yeah, it's terrible. The first one's the best.
We'll get there.
You know I'm not wrong.
So which one are we on now? Predator 17?
Prey. We're on Prey.
Prey.
That's my last. Oh no, we're doing this in chronological order. Sorry, I guess we're not gonna do this in have and have not scenes.
We're doing this in chronological. I thought we were doing it in release order.
Sorry, release order. We're doing this in release order. So because technically my haven't seen is The Predator, which came out before Prey. So I can just do that. If we're gonna keep the...
I mean, these are all haven't seen for me, so it's sort of all
Fair enough.
meshed.
I don't.
This week is weird. So
You know what? I'm gonna. Yeah, we'll do The Predator because I've done some comics and I don't know when those come. So I guess I'll do The Predator. No, I'll leave The Predator and the comics to the end, and I'll split them off. So we'll do Prey. We'll keep to the stuff I have seen. But The Predator is coming. The Predator is coming. Yeah, I want to do Prey first. So Prey, I have maintained up until this point is the only good Predator movie. Hands down. It is legitimately a good movie. And it's a good movie because it's simple. It's the Predator versus like one person. It's ultra violent. I really enjoy the theme of everyone like underestimating her or not taking her seriously, and that's ultimately how she defeats the Predator. I think that's really interesting.
I just love what I love about that movie is that it's like it takes the idea of the Predator and puts it against a thing like a warrior that you wouldn't have really thought of, and it made me want a sequel where it was like against a Japanese samurai
that's where
or
I'm
like
strip down this movie to... I love this movie because it strips down the Predator to what it should be, to what the first one was, but like more interestingly, where it's like, yeah, you just drop the Predator into a scenario and have him fight a guy. And it's like, yeah, in this one it was a Comanche Indian, Native American, I should say. But in other movies, yeah, it could be Predator versus a samurai or versus a knight or versus a... Don't over-explain it. Just be really simple with it. And one thing I love about this movie is I love how it provides an origin for the Predator. I love how he begins. He hunts a snake first, and then when the snake doesn't give him a challenge, he escalates to a wolf, and then to a bear, and then finally to humans. It's like, oh, you don't like the fact that when he first starts hunting humans, he's shooting bow and arrow bolts. And it's like, oh, don't like the fact that he has a gun? That's because the French guy shot him with a gun. And it's just a well-made, the characters
escalation.
are fun. Yeah, it's a well-made movie. The lead character, who I'm not going to try to pronounce her name because I'll butcher it, but she's really interesting. Like I say, I would totally. I like the way it's directed. It's very easy to see. The invisibility. The invisibility by this point, they've obviously the technology is there where you can see the shimmer on him now. So like,
yeah.
There's really cool scenes where like he gets hit by the arrow and like his arm will appear or like just his leg will appear. And like having just watched the first one where he's kind of this vague, it doesn't look very interesting. This one's like, yeah, there's a really cool bit where he kills the bear and he's got the bear over his head and it just bleeds over him and you just see the outline of his body. And yeah, the idea that they think he's this demon who's just shown up. They don't have a concept of what an alien is. It's really kind of neat. And just generally, yeah, I think it is the best Predator movie. Just generally, hands down, the best Predator movie. I have my rankings. And if you've been listening so far, I'm sure you'll be able to leave a comment and tell me if at this point, if you could guess what my rankings are probably going to be. But definitively, in my opinion, Prey is the best Predator movie. Like I just don't think that's debatable.
So I think we know what your number one is going to be.
Yeah. I wasn't going to pretend anything else. It is in my opinion the best Predator movie. Like it's just genuinely, it sets an atmosphere. It's paced so well. It never feels slow. I love the fact that like her character arc is she's not immediately a great hunter. Like she kind of sucks at it at first, and like she has to work at it and get better. And I just think that's interesting. There's some truly upsetting deaths, and there's some truly like gratifying and like satisfying deaths. And like I say, if you like watching an alien slaughter people, brutally, it's genuinely a great time.
You mean a predator? A predator slaughter people. We can't confuse people, Justin.
That's true.
We're watching aliens.
If I was talking about aliens, I would have said a xenomorph, and you know I would have. What's your next Alien movie, Jordan? That's it. That's it for Prey. That's all I had to say. It's really good.
My-
If you haven't
my-
seen Prey, it's again all on Disney Plus. You should check it out. It's phenomenal. Go on.
My next one is Prometheus.
Oh yeah, the point where the franchise gets weird.
So
We're not gonna like
This is-
analyze
this-
Prometheus, are we? Because that movie's
This
really
is-
weird
this
and
is-
complicated.
it's a good movie. I just don't think it's a good Alien movie, which is ironic because it was produced and directed by Ridley Scott. So, you know,
Yeah, but he didn't. What I learned from Romulus is he didn't write the original Alien. Like it's not. I always thought he did. I guess he just directed it.
oh, fair enough.
But I could be wrong about
Um,
that. Someone fact check me. I could be wrong about that.
But it's a good movie. Like I really enjoy the movie. I just don't think it's a very good Alien movie because the
So,
alien
okay.
doesn't show up until like the last 5 minutes, which I don't like.
So this,
Um,
according to that movie, instead of being just a random alien species from a random planet, they are a combination of the goo and humans.
No, according from what I understand of it, they are a bioweapon which was created by the engineers to destroy humans.
So, but doesn't it? Because doesn't it combine with something to become a xenomorph at the end? Like it
It
doesn't.
combines with it combines with the engineer.
Right. Because yeah, up until that point, it doesn't look like a xenomorph, right?
No, it doesn't. It looks like a weird tentacle monster.
Yeah, and it's like again, it comes from
But
the
the,
goo,
but
right?
the but the idea is that the
Black
goo
goo?
was the black goo was created by the engineers, and they were going to take it to Earth to wipe off humanity, basically to
Right.
destroy humanity.
And they never explain why.
No,
No, they never explain why. The engineers could, to my knowledge, do not come back in any significant capacity in that franchise.
no, not really. Sorry, Alan Wake. When you say not a fan of it, do you mean Prometheus? Because
Totally
that's
fair.
fair. I could see why you would say
It
that.
suffers for the fact that it's ashamed of the fact that it's an alien movie. That's really the thing.
But that being said, in terms of it being like a horror thing, like
It
some
is-
of the
it
body horror, it's upsetting.
Yeah, I remember. I just remember the bit where she's in the I wanted the cry of the chamber or whatever, and it's like bursting out of her stomach.
That the next one.
Or is that in the next one?
There's no bursting really in this one.
I just remember it's like it gets inside of her and like it makes her.
Are
feel-
you are you talking about when she goes and has the C-section?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's not it bursting out. That's her doing a C-section to take out a thing. Like basically, the Magneto is like, you're pregnant, and he's like, when were you last intimate with such and such person? And she's like, that's not possible. We had sex last night. Doesn't work like that.
Right.
And that's when she's like, do the X-ray, and she sees the weird tentacle monster thing, the squid thing, is inside her, and she's like, "Get it out of me!" And she goes and she has a C-section,
I
and
remember.
takes
it's
it out,
unpleasant.
and uses the cryo stuff to like freeze it and kill it. And then that's when later, when they're back on the ship inside the medical lab, it's gigantic. And like starts going at the door, and the engineer is there, and that's where she opens it up, and it goes after the engineer, and afterwards the actual xenomorph is seen because of that.
So to me, yeah, that I don't. It leads to so many questions because it's like, yeah, they had kind of a perfectly sensible life cycle where it's like, yeah, egg, face hugger, like why have it come from random goo in a random cave on a random, like, I don't know, or be avoid like a designed thing. That makes them infinitely less interesting to me.
I don't really get it either. I guess because they wanted to try and have a way where it was more modern. Maybe.
I guess. My thing is, again, and this goes back to what I said at the beginning, and this is the point for this franchise where that happens. The more you explain this thing, the less interesting it becomes. When you're like, oh, it's just a generic vague bioweapon. Yeah, that's boring. That's not very interesting. And that movie is boring as a result. But its body horror is effective. It's just its ideas I just don't think are.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have a lot more to say about this one.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Alien Covenant. You go again. I'm out of Predator movies. Oh no, I have one more. I lied. I have one more. Sorry. I have Predator. The Predator. Predator, which is directed by Shane Black. Um, the concept
So
of
is that a sequel or a remake?
it is technically a sequel to well, it's technically a midquel because it sort of takes place between. It's hard. Wikipedia said that it takes place between Predator 2 and the Predators, but I think it takes place after the Predators for reasons I'll get to. So this one kind of it begins with an alien Predator ship is crashed, and a sniper and a bunch of army guys find it, and he gets the Predator's mask and one of the Predator's gloves, and he sends it back home to prove that he saw aliens, and he ends up getting captured by the government, who is now and this part I did find interesting, which is the government is now 1,000% aware of predators. Like they've been coming here an extra amount lately for some reason, and like they know what they are and what they do and how they operate, and they straight up call them predators. And it kind of my major issue with this movie is it's self-aware. Like it's really self-aware. So like there's a bit where they're kind of telling another person what the predator is. Like yeah, it comes here and it tracks us and it hunts us. And she's like, well, that really sounds less like a predator and more like a big game trophy hunter. It's like, oh, of course it's self-aware. Because the minute it becomes self-aware, again, it becomes less interesting. And so it becomes a thing of like the scientists capture the predator and have him sedated in a lab. And then there's just a bunch of scenes where they tell you exactly what the predator is and what he does, and they explain it like 100%. And they get the guy who initially found the predator, and they try to haul him off to a VA mental hospital that happens to be at the same facility as the predator, because this movie is an hour and 45, but it feels like at one point it was a 2-hour movie or a 2:15 movie that had a bunch of shit cut out of it, because there's a lot of interstitial scenes that are just missing. So a lot of points of this movie don't make sense. So like, yeah, he sends the thing. Basically, he gets all this predator technology, and he's like, he goes to this Mexican guy, like, send this packages for me. And the guy's like, no, because when he first enters, he like threatens him with a gun, and then he uses the predator technology to turn invisible, and then he messes with him a bunch, and he's like, you should do this for me, send this for me. And then the next scene is he's now been captured, but they don't have the scene where he actually gets captured. And then it happens again where he's now on this bus with all these like guys with like PTSD. One guy's Tourette's. The one guy is played by Keegan-Michael Key for some reason. And he's just there, and they never show or otherwise explain how he got there. It's very bizarre. And then later in the movie, he realizes that his son's also autistic, and there's this whole thing. So, that's important for later. Son's autistic. So, they've captured this predator. Sorry, go on.
Alan Wake also says, didn't it also say the human DNA in a predator? So
Oh yeah, I'm getting there. Don't worry. Yeah. So they have this predator at the lab, and he's sedated, and they've analyzed him, and for some reason he has human blood, and they want to know whether or not someone fucked an alien. That's literally a line in this movie. And
of course it is.
yeah, and the predator escapes, and there's a honestly pretty sweet scene of him escaping where he just slaughters a bunch of guys, and he doesn't have any of his gear, and you actually get to see him full on, and it looks cool. It looks like the predator, looks good, it looks proper. The action sequence is really well done, but it's just a little strange. Like this movie really reminded me about Iron Man 3 in the sense that there's just a large portion of it which takes place with a small autistic child who's his son. Like a lot of it hinges on the fact that his son is autistic. It's very bizarre. And so the predator escapes, and he goes searching for his gear from this lab, and that once again you find out that the predator doesn't go for innocent people, whatever. Like he happens upon this woman who's in this main scientist lady played by Olivia Munn, who like trying to escape, so she goes into this other lab, but it won't let her out until she decontaminates, so she has to get naked for some reason. So he comes upon her just there naked and afraid, and he doesn't kill her. And so they attempt to basically give the Predator his stuff back. Like, here's your stuff back, leave us alone, where whatever. And then right as they're about to do that, an 11-foot tall super Predator drops in and like starts like fighting the Predator. And he's like basically a super Predator. He's like double the size of a regular Predator. Like, he's huge. And he like rips the Predator's head off and despines him. Which, if you pay attention to the thumbnail of this video, you'll see that the image of the despined Predator. And he's really strong and really powerful. And it turns out that these super predators, they've brought back the idea of them absorbing people's DNA. So they've been like reinforcing themselves with like the strongest DNA of everyone. So they want to come and take all of our best DNA and come to planet Earth and essentially invade us. And he kills the Predator, and he kidnaps the son because he's autistic, can use and read all of the Predator technology. He can use all of it, so he can use the mask, he can use the guns, he can read it. And so the Predator thinks that that's some sort of, the Super Predator, I should say, thinks that that's some sort of superpower. So he kidnaps the son. And it turns out that the other Predator, the original one of the original ones, was on our side the whole time, and they've brought this spaceship to give us something. They don't know what it is. And the Super Predator is trying to retrieve that. They confront it. And in this movie, for the first time, you actually get to see a Predator speak in their own language. Like there's a period where it speaks subtitles on like to a communicator, and you actually see what it's saying.
Interesting.
And then it uses the ship's technology to like actually talk to them in full sentences, and I fucking hate it. I hated it. I'm like, I hate the Super Predators because they completely contradict the entire idea of the Predator and just turn them into generically evil aliens. Like, once you remove the honor and the like properly treating and hunting things like a proper hunter would, the Predators are no longer, once it becomes less a game of wills and more a game of survival, it's no really interesting to me. Like that,
they're Jason at that point.
Yeah, pretty much. They're just not fun. And I'm like, the final, some of the action sequences in this are fun, but like, it's just, the ideas just don't work. It's overly explaining the universe. In a way that's just not interesting to me. And so
interesting.
The movie ends with they obviously beat the Super Predator, and they find the alien, the original Predator spaceship, and he's got a little capsule in it, and a thing from the capsule jumps out and attaches itself to one of the scientists, because the whole thing is at the end they have this science lab again, and the main sniper guy's been invited to be a part of it, and it's almost like the best comparison I could think of is like a G.I. Joe thing. And,
interesting. Alan Wake says Predator Iron Man suit thing.
Yeah, I'm just about to get there. And so the thing shoots out of the pod, and it grabs onto one of the scientists, and it forms around him. And yeah, it's an Iron Man Predator suit. Called that. and there's this really extremely dumb scene, because you've got the son, the like 8-year-old son on the computer, or like however old son, 10-year-old son, 12, whatever, on the computer reading the Predator technology, and he's like, "What does it say, son?" He's like, "It says it's the Predator killer," and it just seems like it's screaming to be set up for a sequel that was never gonna happen. And yeah, I will give it looks cool, but it is the dumbest thing I have ever seen in my life, and it completely ruins Predator. And I understand why people hate this movie. I had fun. Like I say, there's some really graphic kills, and you know me, I love my graphic kills, but it is otherwise a terrible movie. A terrible fucking movie. It is not good. It is probably it is a terrible movie. Anyway, that's the Predators. That's my last Predator movie before Alien vs. Predator. You've got one more, right? We wound up matching up, didn't we? Because you've got one more now. It's Covenant, right?
There's Covenant next, and then there's the 2 Alien vs. Predator, and then there's Romulus.
Yeah. So this one aims to be a more traditional Alien movie, right? It goes back to the drawing board, ditches all the Prometheus stuff.
So, well, kind of. It is still a sequel to Prometheus. So at the end of Prometheus, the main girl and the robot guy, Magneto, end up on the engineer ship, and they're trying to head to the engineer planet to, take the fight to them, basically.
Yeah.
And so in this one, the new crew, captain dies, new captain
Danny
ends up
McBride's
getting a
there.
signal, from this planet, and they end up going to this planet. And so this is an example of I have to question their ship's regulations. I'm sorry, you're going down to an alien planet. I don't care if it says that it's breathable air. You're not going to wear helmets.
Oh yeah,
You're
I
not
think
gonna.
I
You're
have
not
seen
gonna.
this movie. I think I have. I remember something about this because that was
So
dumb.
like they go down onto the planet and they're not wearing helmets, and like one of the guys, I think he trips over it or something, a
Trying to
mushroom,
figure out if I've
and
seen
it
this
and
movie or
it
not.
and it puts out this dust which goes into his ear, and that's where he starts getting sick and everything. And the other guy literally like pokes one of the mushroom, and the little thing goes up his nose,
Don't touch
and
random stuff in space.
he also gets sick. And I'm just like, none of you are wearing like air filtering helmets. I know that your computers maybe said it's breathable air, but you're gambling a lot that there's not something in the air that's going to make you sick. Like, how stupid can you be? And then
Yeah.
sure enough, two of them get sick and die.
See, it's funny.
And
I
you
remember that bit
the,
from Prometheus where they go down to the planet and they don't wear spacesuits. But see, I'm clearly melding these movies together.
No, in Prometheus, the planet does not have breathable air until they get into the spaceship, and that's when the one dude takes off his helmet, and the rest of them are all very much like, "No, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah, I
like
am
that's
clearly
not
confusing
safe."
these two movies.
Whereas in Covenant, they just don't wear the helmets. But then they get saved by or so I don't remember. Somehow the face hugger gets one of them or something, and they end up getting saved by um Magneto from the last movie. Because in this movie, there's Magneto from this movie, who's a newer model
So doesn't he have
synthetic robot.
doesn't he have brown hair so you can tell them apart?
I think I think one of them has brown hair, one
One of
has
them
a
has
different
blonde.
color.
Yeah.
I don't
As
remember.
as from the
Any,
one from Prometheus had blonde hair.
Anyway, you find out that the one that was from Prometheus has been didn't they he claims that they accidentally unleashed the pathogen onto the planet, and that's why only the plants have survived. But you find out that he's actually been experimenting with the xenomorphs and like making different types and different versions and stuff. So like in this universe, he's basically the creator of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Um and
That's why people don't like that
uh
movie.
other than that, it's a pretty paint by number alien movie.
Xenomorph
There's
gets
nothing.
there's that really cool shot of him on something where it's like for one of the first times you actually get to see him full bore, and it actually looks really cool.
And I don't think any of them survive. Covenant resumes its voyage. Walter puts Daniel in stasis. She realizes he's actually David. Unable to escape her. So yeah, basically it ends with David, the one from Prometheus, is posing as Walter, and he says, it sends a transmission saying that all the crew members except Daniels and Tennessee were killed by the earlier solar flare incident. And he's going to harvest their bodies for further experimentation.
I like David as a character. I think he's creepy. I'd kind of like to see him show up in the new ones in the Romulus universe. I think that'd be kind of fun to have him just randomly show up in a movie. Is that it for Alien Covenant? Do you have anything else to say?
Not really. I mean, like I said, they all kind of blend together at a certain point.
Yeah. It was back to basics, and it didn't work because they still wanted to do the
So then we
Prometheus
have the
shit.
Alien. Then we have Alien versus Predator. Oh, we have Dis Inferno says why there are so much connections to Alien Resurrection in Romulus and prequels.
That is a good question. We will get there. We're almost Alien Romulus. We're gonna talk about that movie because spoiler alert.
We got to do
that movie. We gotta talk about the Alien versus Predator
We got to
movies
do
first, though.
Yeah, yeah. I'd say that they're more Predator movies than Alien movies.
It could be your question. I mean, I don't. It's hard to say because kind of, yeah. But in the case of a lot of alien movies, they're just kind of the aliens are kind of a backdrop to the main point of that movie.
They're a
They're
force.
yeah, they're kind of just a force. My favorite thing about that movie is and this is where the question of like how do predators work? Like allegedly, the three predators that show up in this movie are supposed to be like young, like they're supposed to be like teenagers, and this is supposed to be like a rite of passage for them. And one of my favorite things about this movie is how they're just generally incompetent. Like they clearly have not prepared properly for this. Like they're not ready for this, and they all die graphically because they just none of them were like prepared at all to take on the aliens.
Yeah, yeah. Like the alien is like an adult thing to hunt, and they came here for the humans.
Right? No. I think the
Um,
idea is that they came there. They come there for the aliens, but they weren't prepared to fight the aliens because they had that whole temple is designed to turn humans into aliens or to create aliens. That's the whole design of it. So they purposely baited the humans down there to turn them into to aliens so they could hunt aliens. But the aliens were too strong for them because they're bad at their jobs.
either way, uh, I I gotta be honest, the plot of this movie and
It
same with the
doesn't
second
matter.
one don't really matter. It's more just about getting to see the alien and predators
Pretty
fight
much.
each other,
Pretty
and
much.
that's so as soon as I see that, I'm like, you know what, I'm good.
But
This is all I wanted.
and it made me like this one. I went and my opinion obviously has changed because I watched this one earlier in the week and I was like I think that the alien costume and puppetry in this one looks bad. Like I think there's too many straight on shots where you could tell it's just a guy in a costume. And it's the same thing with the Predator. The Predator costume they use for this one doesn't look good. It looks cheap. It looks way too wide. It doesn't look right. Like that was the first thing I saw when the Predator showed up. I'm like, they don't look right. They just don't look. So in that regard, there maybe you see them with just like a hair too much. But then when I saw Predators, you see him a ton in that movie, and it's really cool and really well shot. So I'm like, oh, maybe it's just this movie then. Uh, but my favorite bit in that movie is the end when the Council of Predators show up and they're like, "Yep, guys, this was kind of our bad. We sort of dropped the ball. We set this up a while ago. They don't. We don't know what happened. That's totally our bad."
I mean, my favorite part of this one is when the end, yeah, the end, where the predator that she teamed up with is like, you know what? Thanks. Have my staff spear thing, and
And
gives
she's
it to her, and
like,
then
"I don't know
and
what
then
to
just
do with this,
and
but
just
thanks,
walks
I
off into the
guess."
ship, and it's like da 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 da
Yeah.
da 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 da.
I see. So I maintain that first Alien versus for what it is. It's a good movie. Like it's a fun, stupid movie.
Oh, I mean, to me, it's its own
It's
franchise. Like the
best.
Alien, the Alien franchise is its own franchise. The Predator one is its own franchise, and this is its own franchise. And where it's like considering what it is, it's
Also,
fun.
this one has a main character, and that's gonna dovetail nicely into Alien versus Predator 2, which sucks. It's a bad movie. It's impossible to see. You can't see shit. Everything that happens in that movie either takes place at night or in the rain or at night in the rain. And like there's 1,000 characters, none of them are very interesting, and they exist purely to get murdered by predators
So
or aliens. But the you don't get any of the deaths you do want. Instead, they kill off the only characters that you actually like. It's a terrible, god awful movie.
so
Sorry.
so see, this is where it's funny because as much as I said that the first Alien versus Predator is a Predator movie, Alien versus Predator Requiem, I would say is an Alien movie for all of the reasons that you just stated.
It's just yeah. Well, it's just not
And the
well
only thing
shot
about
at all. It's like
the
clearly
only
trying to
well,
hide stuff.
and again, but that's because it's more like an Alien movie. That's what
Yeah.
it wants to be. All of the Alien movies are dark, and you can't really see much, or at least most of them, anyway.
Yeah, but not to this. I mean, it's also just like from a camera work perspective, it's just bad camera
Yes,
work.
to this degree, I would say they are this dark. I would say that a lot of
Not to this degree.
the one that we watched in the movie theater last night was also dark.
Yeah, but not in the like it being dark and it being dark and rainy and like shaky. It's a completely different thing. Like, yeah, I will acknowledge that they're dark, but you can still see what's going on. This movie, you can't see shit at all points. Like anytime you see the alien or the predators fighting, you can't see shit. It's awful.
I have to be honest. The only thing I really like about Alan Wake says Lex and Scar are good.
I don't know who that is. They were bad. They're bad
Um,
characters. They're all bad characters. Not very interesting.
The only thing that I like about this one is I like the idea of the Predalien.
Yeah, it's too bad it's not in a better movie. Like the thing
The
about that
wolf-
movie.
The wolf predator was cool, is what Alan Wake says.
Oh, okay, I'll give you that. That was pretty cool. I do like the dog predators. I do think they're interesting. But like my thing with that movie is the kind of movie where the person how much of a dick a character is in direct proportion to how likely they are to get killed, except for the girl who gets fridged.
That's fair.
I will never forgive that movie for that. It was like I liked her and I was upset when she got killed.
I have to be honest. By this point, I was pretty done.
Hey, I hated it. I was like, oh, I hate that movie. Anyway, it's a bad movie that nobody should watch. The reason why
I will say, at least it's only an hour and a half.
That is the nice thing about it. Is it's nice and short. That's the thing I discovered with a lot of these Predator movies. Is at least they're mercifully short.
All of the Alien ones are all 2 hours.
I think Prey was just over 2 hours, but it doesn't feel like it.
So like all of the Alien ones are like 2 hours. So by the time I got to both of the Alien versus Predators, and they were only an hour and a half,
so
it felt like such a godsend, such a relief that I was like, you know what? I don't care that this one's bad. It's at least short.
So now let's definitively rank. Let's definitively rank all of the Alien movies going into Romulus, not including Romulus. Jordan, how many did we say not including Romulus? 6.
6, not including Romulus.
So 6, not including Romulus.
So we'll do a top 5, and one of them has to get bumped off.
No. We're doing a top 6. We're gonna do all of them. I want to definitive ranking all of them. Jordan, number 6.
Resurrection.
That's the worst one. Okay, what's number 5? I have mine.
Actually, sorry. I'm rephrasing that. If we're doing Alien movies, number 6 is Prometheus.
All right. Okay, fair. That's a fair argument. So 6 included Prometheus?
6 is Prometheus. 5 is Alien Resurrection.
Okay, I this is where I'm going to disagree. For me, 6 is Alien Resurrection, and then 5 is Prometheus. Just because I think I'm gonna give a bump to Prometheus for being a better movie. What's number 4?
What are my other options? I did Prometheus.
Covenant,
I did Resurrection.
Covenant, Alien 1, 2, and 3. We have left.
Number 4 would be 3.
Okay, really? That's an interesting. Man. There's a lot of Alien fans who hate Covenant who are I think they're gonna disagree with that. But this is the definitive list. There will be no debate. What's number 3?
Covenant.
Covenant's number 3. So then, okay, I'm gonna guess number 2 is Alien and number 1 is Alien 2.
Yeah.
I mostly agree with you. I haven't seen Covenant, so I can't do a definitive list because I haven't seen Covenant. I'm gonna have to watch Covenant. At least I don't think I have. I don't know. I keep waffling on whether or not I do. Maybe I'll watch it for another episode, for another science fiction episode. So I can't definitively rank, but I mostly agree with your list. So official ranking of Predator movies, Jordan. Give me the numbers.
Number 6 or Predator.
Yeah, Predator. There is. Hold on.
How many are there? 5.
5. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5.
Okay, what's number 5?
Number 5 is it's definitely The Predator. That movie was terrible.
Okay. Number 4.
Predator 1.
Interesting. Number 3.
Predator 2.
Number 2.
Predators.
And number 1 is obviously going to be Prey.
Obviously going to be Prey. Prey is the best Predator movie, just hands down. It is the best Predator movie. I've had people disagree with me. You're all allowed to be wrong because you're wrong. It is the best Predator movie.
And then the top 2 of Alien versus Predator is the first one's better than the second one.
The first one's better than the second one. The second one's garbage. But we knew that. And then before we do Alien Romulus, I realized I want to talk about some Predator comics. Real quick, or do we have time? Should I bump the Predator comics?
That's your call.
Do you want to hear about? Okay, I'll give you a choice then. We'll do Do you want to hear? What do you want to hear about more?
Just so you know, we're at about 2 hours and 8 minutes.
Screw it. We can go longer. We can go a bit longer. We can go a bit long today. How do you know what time we're at?
I have the YouTube video open and I keep sliding back just a little bit, so I'm not currently live. So it
Oh,
tells me what the time is, and then I slide it back to where the live position is, so it gives me the most recent time.
gotcha. Yeah, screw it. Okay, I'll give you a choice. Do you want to hear about both Wolverine versus Predator and Archie versus Predator, or just one?
I mean, if you're gonna do one, you might as well do both. Come on.
Well, I mean, I could do them quickly, and then we'll do Alien Romulus. I forgot I had them. So Wolverine versus Predator. It's very simple. I thought it was okay. It's basically the Predator keeps showing up in various points of Logan's life, and because Logan doesn't have a great memory, he doesn't always remember it. Other times he does. That's pretty much it. There's a section of it which is basically just the first movie, but with Wolverine. I was digging it. The art style's pretty good. The fights are kind of fun. I was digging it until the end when the alien takes hostages, which I was like, not alien, a Predator takes hostages, which I was like, Predator doesn't take hostages until this Predators movie where he did. But he there's one point where he's like taking this one guy hostage and he's like trying to make an exchange. That's not how the Predator works, but anyway. And
Predator doesn't take hostages. He takes trophies.
Right, and the person he snagged is Rogue, and Rogue is like, should I touch him? And Wolverine's like, no, there's no point. And I'm like, what do you mean there's no point? You've touched you brought the one mutant where it would be very helpful. Like suck him dry until he dies. Like, what are you doing? Like, come on now.
You foolish girl.
Right? What do you mean don't touch him? It won't help. Of course it'll help. You could completely drain, like you're a life energy vampire. Like you could have grabbed literally, just in terms of writing, you could have grabbed literally any other mutant and it would have been 1,000 times more. Why Rogue? Like it ruined that whole comic for me. I otherwise was into it. I'm like, this is pretty cool. I'm digging this. These are fun fights. I otherwise was not into it. There we go. That's Wolverine versus Predator. It's pretty cool. I watched a really good comic story and video on it. And then my second one is, and this one I'm going to wholeheartedly recommend it up top. I'm going to spoil the shit out of it. Go watch it clean. I watched a really good video where a guy just told it. I wish I could remember the name, and otherwise I would share it. But it's genuinely hilarious. It's very funny. The art style is basically like Archie. It looks like Archie. Like it's not like that Archie Afterlife one where it like looks sort of realistic to match Predator style. No, Predator's very much being dropped into the Archie comic style, and it opens up like a regular Archie comic. And they've for some reason been invited to go on vacation in this like tropical kind of island place. And there's a confrontation between Betty and Veronica. They get into a fight, and Veronica like elbows Betty in the nose and breaks her nose, and just the image is just Betty's nose just gushing blood as she's holding her nose, and Archie and Veronica just start making out in the waves, and Betty it's so bizarre, and Betty goes off and she finds this jaguar sword or staff or something and pulls it out, and this is where this is a criticism of it. It's not really made clear how it connects to the Predator, but she pulls it out and makes a wish that she could get revenge on Jordan, just so you're aware. Yeah. Basically, she gets this sword, and the Predator starts chasing after them and just starts killing, follows them around because it's got a crush on Betty and Veronica. So it starts following them around, and it keeps killing people who it deems a threat. So it shows up, and like Pop Tate has I think a kitchen knife or something, and the Predator just blows off Pop Tate's head, and it explodes and just goes everywhere.
Sounds violent.
Yeah, and they're like, what the? And so they end up going to Sabrina the Teenage Witch to figure out what's the deal with, because they think that the Predator is like, I guess the idea is they think the Predator is a curse from this dagger or whatever. And so they go to Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and they ask for her help. And then just like out of nowhere, the Predator shows up, drops down, rips her head off, and just spines her in front of them. And they just
This sounds kind of amazing.
just paints them in blood. And the next panel is Veronica being like, you think I'm gonna borrow Sabrina's clothes. She's not using them anymore. Womp womp. And I'm like, whoa, that's not cool.
That's amazing.
And who else? I can't remember who else they kill. At one point, they decide they want to use Veronica's bait, but they don't want to actually use Veronica, so she convinces Jughead to dress up as her. And I can't remember. I think he does kill. The Predator does end up killing Jughead, and then later on, it's revealed that Dilton Doily has a Archie robot that looks just like, so he gets in the Archie robot and fights Archie, and he ends up getting killed by the Predator graphically. And then towards the end, it's revealed that the lodges have like this machine, this magical machine that can cure like any illness, and so they try to use it because Archie ends up getting like knocked unconscious by the Predator, and it turns him into like Hulk Archie. So he's like Archie, but he's like jacked up, and he ends up fighting the Predator, and then the Predator like smush or like blows his brain. So it's just this image of like Archie's head just exploding, and they're like, oh my god, they've killed Archie. And then I can't remember exactly what happens next, but something ends up happening to the Predator where the Predator gets injured, and they put him in the machine and basically turn him into Archie because the Predator loves Benny and Veronica, so they use it to give it plastic surgery to make it look like Archie. And the only reason why I mentioned that is because they did a sequel called Archie vs. Predator 2, where it's Betty, Veronica, and the Archie Predator, like the Predator as Archie, and they wind up in the Afterlife with Archie universe. You know, the one where it's like realistic or whatever. They wind up in that universe somehow. It's really weird. Apparently, it's not nearly as good, but it's very funny. Like, it's genuinely, I laughed very hard because it's Archie and it's absurdly violent. Like, it's very good. Like, genuinely,
That's
I really
funny.
enjoyed it. It's probably, I don't know, it's maybe my second favorite thing because I really like Prey. But of the Predator things I hadn't seen, it definitely was my favorite. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
So before we move on to Alien Romulus, Disinferno says, is there a possibility for Alien 5 someday? Because franchise is dead for now until we get continuation of main story with Ripley.
Well, I forgot to mention that at the end of the Predators, there was originally going to be a deleted scene where Ripley showed up. Like, you know how I
At
said
the end of the Predators?
The Predators, yeah, the one with the Predator suit at the end.
But Ripley is from Alien.
I know. Well, it was going to be, I guess, a reference to Alien versus Predator, but the capsule was going to open up at the end. They filmed it, and it was going to either be with the same actress. It was either going to be Newt or it was going to be Ripley, and it wasn't going to be played by Sigourney Weaver. But then they canceled it. They didn't end up doing it. Yeah.
Interesting. But my response to Disinferno would be, we don't need a continuation of a story with Ripley. She died in 3, and she shouldn't have been in 4.
Yeah, exactly. She dead, yo. She dead. She shouldn't come back.
She died.
Yeah, she died.
There's no continuation of her story, unless you have another clone of her, and I don't want another clone of her. I didn't want a clone of her the first time.
I don't think Sigourney Weaver should come back.
No. Which segues us into the next Alien movie, which doesn't have Sigourney Weaver.
Which absolutely does not have Sigourney Weaver in. And
in fact, it doesn't really have any big stars in it, which I kind of appreciated.
Interesting. Sorry.
What?
I'm reading the 2 stories from Alien Romulus that I had saved real quickly. Okay. Alien Romulus, let's do this in 2 parts as we always do with reviews. We do the non-spoilers and we do the spoilers. This is going to be relatively quick because the spoilers is just going to kind of be me nitpicking all the points I've already made, because this is kind of the culmination of all of the Alien and Predator movies for me. A lot of this movie, I was less in focused or invested. I was invested, but I was less focused for this on like the movie itself, because it's no spoilers. Very good movie. Good movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
But it just was one of those things where it just made me ask a bunch of questions about the universe that the universe has never answered. But it did kind of answer some of them, where it was like, oh, have they ever been really clear in a specific sense about what they wanted with the alien? And this movie kind of answered. But anyway, non-spoiler thoughts real quick, Jordan. Non-spoiler thoughts.
It was good. Non-spoiler thoughts. Again, it has a kind of fresh and up-and-coming cast in it, which I appreciate. No faces that I recognized, which I like when a movie does that.
Yeah.
And look like aliens. The face huggers look like face huggers.
There's creative uses. Like, it's the first movie I would say that face hugger.
You know, you can play your bingo card of Alien, of what alien tropes make it into this and how good they are.
Yeah, but I think because, I mean, CGI is gotten there, but yeah, man, some of the scariest and most upsetting stuff they've done with face huggers. I've never been quite so scared of a face hugger in a present way. Like, they actually got to be a part of the action sequences, which was pretty cool.
No, I'm saying all that as a good thing. Yeah, like, that's a good thing.
It's a fresh take on all of the stuff you know in a way that's interesting.
Yeah,
it's definitely what I would say. Yeah. Now there's a couple of things where I don't know if it was me. I don't know if it was our theater that we watched it in. It could just be that we had, but there's a lot of sound mixing stuff where there's like a scene early on where they're having a conversation in a crowd, and I could not understand what they were saying. One of the characters has a unbelievably thick British accent, and I'm bad with accents, so I had just the damnedest time understanding what he was saying a lot of the time. I really can't wait to rewatch this movie with subtitles at home, so I can understand more of the dialogue.
Yeah, pretty much all of the ones that had a thick accent, I found, like, when they really got going, they were a little bit hard to understand.
But also just like an audio thing, it was hard to hear. But I
got the gist of what they were saying.
That could be an hour movie theater thing. Like, our movie theater is old and sucky, where we live in a small town, so it doesn't get the money. So, like, it could just be that our speakers are shit. I have found in the smaller theaters in that theater, like, it's not so bad in the big theater, but in the smaller ones, yeah, some of those movies are hard to. The audio is hard to hear. So I wouldn't hold that against it. Again, I'd like to revisit this. But that's it. Go watch it. It's pretty good. Support good creative movies, guys. Support the theaters. Get out there, spend some money. It's a good movie.
Support the arts.
Let's want to do spoilers, Jordan? Is that all? Did you have anything you could say? I mean,
I don't really have a lot more to say. Spoiler version even. Other than doing a plot by plot kind of thing.
I want to talk about the ending. We gotta talk about the ending.
Do we have to?
We have to.
I don't like the end. I don't like the ending.
We have to talk about the ending.
Okay. Spoiler. This is everybody's spoiler alert warning. If you don't want to hear about the ending and hear about the spoilers, you should duck out now. If you don't care, Alan Wake, I'm talking to you if you're still here.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Romulus yet and you want to watch Romulus,
spur of the moment seal of approval.
This is your spoiler warning. We are now going to deep dive into the ending and why I think it went on too long and should have ended sooner.
I don't agree. I like the final. I love it's so interesting because it's funny because so spoiler alert. The goof from Prometheus comes back and AI. Oh yeah, by the way, I didn't get this, but apparently the broken android is an AI reconstruction of the android from like the first movie or whatever, and people hated it. It's another one of those bringing a dead guy back to life kind of deals.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, interesting.
People don't like that. I didn't recognize it. Yeah, I don't love it when people do that.
I didn't recognize it, so it doesn't bother me in this instance.
It felt like it was supposed to be a character I was supposed to know.
Yeah, it felt like it was supposed to be a reference, and like that I will say. But I didn't really pick up on it, which is ironic because I just watched all of them.
My thing about this movie is the longer it went on, the more I had questions about just the inherent nature of that universe. Like, why is this entire? Oh, that was the thing we forgot to mention about the Alien versus Predator movies. How the main guy from the first one is Wayland, and then at the end of the second one, Yutani shows up, and he's like, you're clearly supposed to know who that is, but who cares?
Yeah, fair. Wayland, I did recognize the name Wayland as I was watching it.
That's when I was like, it's a 2-part name. It's something Yutani. It's Wayland Yutani.
Yeah.
And my thing with this movie is, well, it is cool to see an actively thriving colony and to see what that looks like. It just kind of makes you go like, wait, it's just kind of why does this one company have all of the power? And it's like in the first one, it doesn't matter, but in this one, you're saying stuff like they're preventing you from.
Why does one corporation have all the power? Well, let's go talk. Let's in our
No,
world.
but I'm talking about no. Stop. No. Because I'm talking in this universe. This is a corporation that spans planets. Like why have they put all of their? But that doesn't. It's not. It's not explained. Like the more you're like, this is a company that like they're denying immigration checkpoints. They're doing this.
Because they have all the money.
Yeah, but how? That's the question. That's the thing. Is these movies never explain what the origin of this company. No, but again, the more you open up and the more of this company you show, the more power that you demonstrate that this company has, the more you have to explain its genesis. Like they never explain. So they're like, okay, this one planet that they're going to isn't controlled by Weyland-Yutani. So does that mean that there are other corporations out there that also own? And again, why is it just the Weyland-Yutani ships that are backwards? And like, are there other, again, the more you pull back and like attempt to explain things, the more I question how the nature of this universe works. How come
See, I didn't question any of that because for me, it's another evil corporation. That's the idea.
Yeah, but again, if from a storytelling perspective, that's my one thing. And that was my thing with this movie. Or like for the longest part of the movie, I was like, have they ever actually said what exactly why they're obsessed with putting their lives in danger on a constant basis for this one fucking creature? I did think it was interesting that they brought back the Prometheus goo. I wasn't expecting that.
This Inferno says, I'm glad there was this hybrid because it felt more cathartic than just escaping from the Romulus space station.
Exactly.
Definitely the reason why the movie is 9 out of 10 for me.
And
I disagree.
It's upsetting. It's an upsetting creature. And yeah, up until that point, it didn't really, the movie, I'm like, I'm waiting for the climax. And I'm like, there really isn't much of a climax here. And then I'm like, okay.
No, I disagree. The climax is them escaping from the ship and getting into the pod. If this was the first movie, like them getting into the pod, getting into the pods and escaping from the alien is the end of the movie. You don't have them get into the pods and then have an additional 30 minutes of them fighting another alien. That's over the top.
You need a big thing to fight at the end. And that thing.
They had a big thing to fight at the end. They had they literally had the scene where they're up against the. They had the scene. Can you let me finish? They had the scene where they're fighting against dozens and dozens of aliens against the elevator. That's the big scene.
No,
they defeat all of those and they escape from the ship. Anything after that, to me, they didn't need. It wasn't necessary.
You need an alien queen, or you need a big alien thing to fight at the end. That's how these movies work. And no, this one.
Again, no, you don't. When you're fighting against 20 of them, that's the big alien. That's the big finishing scene.
No.
And then them getting into the pods is the end. That's how the first one. No. That's how these first ones would have ended, Justin.
Nah, wrong. I mean, you're not wrong, but I mean,
I'm not wrong.
This is one of those instances where, man, that ending, it's that ending creature, that thing is upsetting, and it's harrowing, and it's effective. And to me, he's right. He's right. It pulls together that movie perfectly.
It is upsetting, and it is horrifying to look at. I just think it's unnecessary. I think that's what should have come in. I think that's what should have come in the sequel.
No, because the sequel still got to do xenomorphs. So no, it's culminating. It's also a reference to Prometheus, and it's the goo. It explains what the goo does. If they didn't include the goo, I'm with you. Like, cut out the goo, but the goo needed a payoff. Like, you can't introduce the concept of the goo. The goo is a Chekhov's gun. You have to address the Chekhov's gun. That's the whole point of a Chekhov's gun.
You introduce it as this horrible thing that they should never use, and then they don't use it.
No, absolutely not. You always use it. Why bring back the goo if you were never going to use it? Right? That's one of one of the many.
They didn't bring back the goo. That was them experimenting on the fucking xenomorphs and creating their own super thing. Yeah, that's not bringing back. That's not bringing back the goo that was in Prometheus.
Yeah, he said he dissected the aliens and he found that that they contain the goo, and it's clearly the same goo from Prometheus. That's the foundation of their existence.
That's you inferring that.
No, it
That's
is.
not an outright. That's not an outright
It
statement.
is. They've said that it's an outright reference to Prometheus. It is
Well, then
absolutely an outright reference to Prometheus.
Well, then that's asinine and stupid.
No, it's not. Of course it's
Yes,
not.
it is.
No,
Yes,
it's
it
not.
is.
Again, that ties that ties those movies together. It makes sense that they would because the Prometheus movie takes place well before the original Alien. So no, it makes sense that they would have dissected it to find out that it was composed of the goo if it is in fact. But yeah, absolutely makes sense that they would have dissected it. And
I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I'm saying it's stupid. I don't like that. It's stupid.
No, I mean, yeah. Again, it makes sense that again, it all comes together in the end.
Yeah, I get it. You're all ganging up on me. No,
you're wrong.
I don't agree.
You're wrong.
I don't agree.
You're wrong. This is one of those times where you're one of your classic. You're wrong, and this is one of those times where I have backup because you're wrong. Without
I don't think the horrifying hybrid abomination.
You just don't like the horrifying hybrid abomination.
And nothing you say will make me think he is.
Your opinion would be completely different if it was an alien queen. It would be completely different.
No, it wouldn't. I don't like the fact that they escape from the ship, have an ending, and then while I have to pee and want the movie to end, continue for an additional 20 minutes.
I mean, okay, but that's a big difference. I mean, yes, it was like 9 o'clock and I wanted to go home, but that has nothing to do with it makes for an impactful ending. And I don't love the fact.
I don't think it's necessary. I think that them having their last stand against the dozens and dozens of aliens, them turning off the gravity and having to survive through the acid, and then still make their way back to the ship before it takes off. I think that's it. And then survive the thing taking off is enough. I don't think you need to then on top of it happen to have a perfectly well timed. They managed to fight against an additional alien on their escaping ship while it doesn't have anybody flying the ship and is slowly going to crash and happen to defeat it in time. No, it's too much.
Yeah, you're wrong. It's also not technically an alien. That's kind of the whole point. Like, no, sorry, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. It's not. You're wrong. That is an excellent action sequence. It is an incredible effect. It looks great. It's a fun sequence. The movie would be lesser if you cut it out. The ending would be weaker. It would be.
Word 789 says, "Did we need the baby morph? No, we didn't. We didn't need it."
You're wrong.
That's my point.
You're wrong.
We did not need it.
You're wrong.
It was not necessary.
You're wrong.
They already had the big standoff in the ship.
Yeah.
They escaped. We didn't need the baby morph.
Now, to me, you need one big final thing. Again, these movies always.
We did when they fought against the dozens and dozens, like the colony that was on the ship. Yes, it was.
No.
Yes, it was.
That's
yes,
not enough.
It was.
Again, it's not.
Yes, it was.
No, because they'd already definitively proven at that point that the aliens weren't a threat. That's the thing, is they weren't threatening. The only thing that makes the aliens threatening in those movies is the fact that they're in a spaceship. She tore through them like they were cheese, like they were Swiss cheese. They were nothing. When she turned off the gravity, she killed them instantly. Like they were not a threat. So that's not a big showdown. That's not a big threat.
Yes, it is.
But it's not. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of that final sequence. No, but it's not. Because again,
yes, it is.
But they're not threatening, Jordan. You're missing the point. In terms of an actual climax, it's not an effective climax because there's no threat to her.
It is an effective climax because they have the risk of time. They have to get out of there within the time range of what they have. That's the big threat there. Yes, you're right. Maybe it's not the individual aliens, but it's the fact that the aliens are slowing them down and they might not make it back to the ship. So when they do, let me finish, please. When they do make it back to the ship, then yes, it pays off because their time crunch. They have made it. No. Then to have the additional second ending of a baby morph on top of that is too much.
The thing is, every horror movie, you have that moment where you think you've won, right? You always do, every single one, and it happens in all of these alien movies, and like in previous alien movies.
Word 789. For me, the second ending was so derivative of Alien 1 ending, we might as well have not had it. How many times do we need to see an alien sucked into space? I agree.
But that's the thing, is like, it wasn't an alien. That's the point. Yes, you're right. If it was a big xenomorph, sure, you're absolutely right. Boring and derivative. But the alien hybrid, to me, I agree it's designed as something left to be desired. I think it would have been far more interesting if it had more intelligence. and they were trying to. It kept doing weird, creepy faces. Like if it was maybe a bit more human, then I agree it could be stronger. But no, you need the moment where you think Jason is dead and he comes back, and you have one final big push confrontation where you finally
agree.
choke him to death and you stab him to death. That's what that movie. Otherwise, no, Otherwise,
I don't agree.
Also, that they needed the brother to be dead. That's also it. But no, I think you are.
I don't agree, and nothing you say is going to convince me. I don't think we needed that additional 15 minutes.
You are wrong.
I think it was too much, and I think that what you could have done is you could have had it where they get in the pods, we think it's over, and you have a stinger for the next one where you see that this thing has survived.
But this thing is not a. That's the thing is this thing is not a multi-movie thing. This thing is a big and to be fair, Disney also hated it. They originally didn't want it. That was the other news story.
What's your plot hole? Word 789.
Yeah,
they say they have one plot hole.
Disney didn't want it either. So you're not
because it's their fault.
You're wrong. Sorry, you're wrong.
I'm not wrong.
You're clearly wrong because it wound up in the movie. So you're wrong. And Disney was wrong because it's getting rave reviews and people love the ending. So like I'm pretty sure you're in the mind. Unless maybe you're not. You know what? Maybe you are. Maybe you're not. I'll see. I'll go take a look. We'll see who's right. I'll go to my
word 789. Why does the alien acid blood suddenly not matter when they shoot it on top of the elevator?
Because of
that was a major plot point because of the blood.
On top of the elevator. Oh well, because they keep avoiding it. And then eventually the gravity drops, and then it hits the elevator, and then the elevator falls.
And then Disinferno says Cloverfield 10 Lane was having the same problem. Girl escape, but then there are some ducking aliens.
Yeah, but that movie's different. That movie, the entire point of that movie is you're not sure whether or not there are aliens or whether or not there is something wrong, and you constantly are wondering whether or not he's just lying to her to keep her there. And then the big twist of that movie is that no, actually he was telling the truth the whole time, and she should have actually listened and stayed with him. But that's a different movie. So the question is though, where do you go in the future? What do you do for the sequel? I had an article that was pulled about what the director says, but fuck him. What you could do anything with this franchise. You get to make Alien Romulus 2. This is an homage to. I mean, it's certainly the first Alien, maybe the Alien Resurrection with the human hybrid. What are you doing for Alien Romulus 2? I have my idea. I want to hear yours.
Word 789 says, but the Andy guy is shooting it on top of the elevator when gravity is back on. The blood literally poops on top of the elevator. No vacuum of space hole.
Yeah, but no, it falls through the elevator and then it takes go there.
Pools.
Yeah, pools on the top of the elevator, and then that's why the elevator falls.
Not poops. I should have known that.
It hits the top of the elevator when gravity hits it, and then the elevator falls. That's why the elevator falls, is because the acid damages the elevator. So if you're saying that the acid didn't damage the elevator, it did. That's why the elevator fell. So that's not so much a plot hole as it is like a continuity inconsistency, I would say. But honestly, that sequence was so much fun, and it's kind of the most interesting. That was an example of like you could feel that they felt really hindered by they wanted to do like you shoot at the alien, but they're hindered by the fact that it has acid blood. Like you could tell that. Sequel.
I really like the movie. I just don't like how it ends.
Yeah, you're wrong, but that doesn't matter.
I'm not wrong.
Yeah, you're very wrong, but it doesn't matter.
I'm not wrong.
We're moving on with your wrongness.
Just because you think I'm wrong doesn't mean that I'm wrong.
No, not only are you wrong.
Anyway.
Wrong.
Sequel. Yeah. I would have saved the baby, the horrifying human alien monstrosity for the sequel.
No.
And in my version of events, the ship makes it back to whatever planet, Earth or whatever, where there's a bunch of humans, and it becomes a sickness where they start creating these human alien hybrids.
But then it's not alien at that point. That's my thing. It's like that's why that alien hybrid can't survive past this movie, because it stops. It has to be a xenomorph. It always has to be a xenomorph. Otherwise, it's not alien. So as much as like no, maybe like a variation of it survives via the goo into the sequel, but that thing had to die. Like, okay, yeah, maybe they did it 15 minutes sooner into the movie, sure, but like that thing always had to die.
Word 789 agrees with me about leaving Baby More for a sequel.
But
So I'm not in this.
But it's
Thank you, Word
but
789.
Okay, so you push it to the sequel, and then you do the same thing you did in this movie. What difference does it make? It's that creature is not sustainable for a movie.
The difference is that you then don't have two endings.
But
you have one ending,
but it
and
doesn't
you
have
save this
two
for the
endings.
sequel.
That again,
It has two
you don't
endings.
watch enough slasher flicks. Like that is not that ending.
The first ending is them getting into the pods and having succeeded. And yes, it is.
It's not an ending.
It is. Yes, it is.
Because you don't see definitively what happens to the xenomorphs. They can still be alive.
Exactly. That's why. That's how they said. That's what they did in the first one, and that's how they set up the sequel for the second one. Is they end with her getting into the pod, and then you find out in the second one that it actually survived. That's literally what happens in the first one.
Yeah, no. But in this one, it doesn't work for this one.
So yes, that is an ending, Justin.
No.
So yes, it has two endings.
No, but the way it's set up in this one, no, it's not. It's not an ending. They're still.
Yes, it is.
No, no.
Yes,
but regardless, that creature was never. You have to think of this. It was never.
You have it where the girl who's pregnant goes into cryostasis.
No.
It ends. And then you ask how you start the next one. The next one is they all wake up, and then you have that scene.
But again, that creature is not sustainable for a whole movie. So what you do?
It doesn't need to be.
So what you do that scene at the beginning of the next movie?
All it needs to do is survive into the beginning of the first movie when there's now other people that are there, and it infects them, and then the xenomorphs come back.
But that's dumb. That's more dumb. This at least. It's dead and it does. It's not a creature that survives. It's an end of movie, big stupid CGI creature that's at the end of a movie. Like that's the type of creature it is. It's not the main villain of a movie. It wouldn't sustain.
I didn't say it was.
But again, there's no difference. It makes no difference. What you're saying is no, but it doesn't.
It makes a big difference.
It doesn't make the ending any more or less effective. Does. No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, and it doesn't impact. Okay. Forgetting for a second that I accept your idea. I don't want it because it would never happen. So I want an actual sequel that'll happen.
It did happen.
No, the
ending that I'm talking about did happen in the original movie.
This isn't the original movie. We're talking
this movie. Yes. So yes, there is a world where it happened.
No, but I don't. That's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about the franchise going forward. You don't get to keep your weird alien hybrid. You have to do something different.
I really don't care. I don't like the movies enough to.
Yeah, but we're having a thought experiment here, man. I'm asking you. What do you do for the sequel?
I have no idea.
What is your idea? Come up with an idea.
I gave you my idea. Give me your idea.
We do aliens. We do aliens. We do a full budget modern reimagining of aliens, and we bring in a James Cameron level current action director, and we go and we do. Well, this one was an homage to the horror side of Alien. We do the next one, and it's an homage to the action style. And maybe we bring back the same director, and we let him do his own idea for Alien 2. That's what I do for the sequel.
Honestly, I would just reboot it.
This is the reboot. That's the whole point of this.
No, it's not. A reboot can't connect to the previous stuff. I mean, full reboot.
Oh,
no,
it can't. No. What would
I mean, full reboot.
Why?
Because then you can create aliens that don't just have acid blood, that can be interesting, that can be different. You can redesign stuff. You can do things that are new without feeling like you're tied to the 70s or 80s aesthetic. You can have stuff that looks modern. You can do things it's just right now. It's supposed to be like the 9th in this sequel. It's not. It's if you read about it on Wikipedia. It is not classified as a reboot. It is classified as the 9th sequel.
Yeah, it's a midquel.
To the original.
It's a midquel. It takes place between the second and third movie.
So
it's very much a midquel.
But my point is, it's not a reboot. It's connected to the
Sure,
original.
but it's a reboot in the sense that
I would completely reboot this
No,
franchise.
I don't see a need to do that. I here's my thing, and it's funny I defended the human hybrid so badly. I hate the human hybrid.
So I'm gonna interrupt you and read a few comments here. Word 789 says, I mean, this is a dead end now. There can be no more now with these characters. My response to that would be,
Yes,
yeah,
they can.
but a sequel doesn't really need to be connected to the characters.
What are
Aren't
you talking
important.
about?
The characters aren't important. It's the aliens that are important.
No, but
So any
hold on.
sequel can be 200 years in the future, and it doesn't really matter.
She's still alive at the end of the movie.
Disinferno says, Rain and Andy are now criminals. Sequel should take place on Weyland Yutani prison. I assume they mean prison planet.
Yeah, she's still alive.
And then words 789 says, and I could be down for this. Except I would add on to it, but says, I'm thinking we need a Terminator versus Alien. To which I would say I would like a Terminator versus Alien versus Predator.
That'd be fun. But no, she's still alive at the end of the. Yeah, she doesn't have enough fuel to make it to the place she's going. But like, I believe the second Alien starts with Ripley just kind of crashing into someone. So like, yeah, they just have it where she's in the pods or whatever, and their ship crashes into like a random planet, and she's on a random planet now. Like, you can absolutely do a sequel to this one. She's still alive.
I mean, sure. Yeah, you're right. She is, but like the alien's dead.
No, but the xenomorphs aren't. You just have it where she runs into another xenomorph, or have it where she got hit by the goo and now she's infected, or like there's any number of ways you bring her back.
The idea was supposed to be that the xenomorphs were on that ship, and like that was all of them.
No, that they were cloning them. That was the whole idea. They were genetically.
But that was all of them.
No, they still exist out there. They had found that, and then they had genetically replicated it. But the thing with the xenomorphs is they're always out there. Like, they always inevitably find them somewhere else. Like, that's in the second and third one, they always inevitably find. And yeah, what they could do is they'll just say, oh, no, she got hit by the goo, and it creates another xenomorph.
In the second and third one, the ones that she finds are a result of that first colony that they ran into. The second one is there because it hit on the ship and survived after the events of the first one. The third one exists because
sure, but they still exist out there.
Yet again, it hides on the ship and survives and ends up on the same planet as her.
My point is that they're still out there.
That's why I'm saying, for them, like having them have that final battle with the human hybrid one at the end doesn't work because they kill it.
No, but again,
you always leave one of these things alive so that it can show up in the sequel, and they just have it there.
Again, the whole bit about the ending though is about the goo. It's not so you just have it where the goo and she got infected by the goo from it, and it's now then you have like an Alien 3 situation where there's a queen inside.
Yeah, then at that point, you didn't really need to do that human hybrid fight.
Yeah, but the point was to demonstrate what the goo did. Like, they showed us the goo. Okay. You have to show what the goo does.
She gets infected by the goo, and then you have another human hybrid.
Yeah, but again, the point at the end of this movie.
We have seen what happens when this alien goo interacts with a human.
No, but what you're talking,
it makes the hybrid creature.
No, but what I'm talking about, yes, that's what. Yeah, what I'm saying is like you have it where you're like, oh, they can't do anything different. But that's where I'm saying. Instead of, I don't like the alien-human hybrid conceptually. I need to make that clear. I hated it in Alien 4. I don't like it conceptually. I think make different xenomorphs. So like, do it where like you're right. That they're instead of trying to like genetically turn it into goo, make it where they're trying to create other xenomorphs. So like you've created a genetically freak xenomorph who doesn't have acid blood now, or has ice blood, or has fire blood, or make different variations of xenomorphs. That's my dream.
Maybe if that last fight had been against an actual xenomorph, maybe I wouldn't be so upset by it.
The point of it is point of that scene is
but what they gave, the product they gave us, I'm not satisfied. The point.
The only way I would get rid of that human hybrid at the end of this, as the movie stands now, is you got to cut out the goo, like because once you I mean, it didn't have to be gigantic, but once you introduce the concept of the goo and you introduce the concept of people using the goo, you have to. It's just movie language. You have to see what the goo does.
You have to do something with it, sure.
She has
but
to
you
turn
didn't
into
need
a
to.
monster.
You didn't need to make it into an alien human hybrid.
No,
you could have
but
just made it. You could have made it into a unique and different xenomorph.
I don't disagree, but again,
Maybe one that
was
maybe for example one that still looks like a xenomorph, but now it has the human intelligence and it talks.
See, but it just kind of comes across like your beef with the hybrid is, yes, I agree it should have talked, but is more just the uncanny valley of it. Like you have no issue of its functionality in the.
Yeah, I mean, I hate that. I hate its uncanny valley. It's creepy. I don't like it. I don't like it conceptually. I don't like the very idea of it. I didn't like it when they did the human hybrid last time.
No, I don't like it either. That's my thing. I don't love it conceptually, but I'm just saying from a movie making standpoint, you have to show it. If you're going to introduce the concept of the goo, you have to at the very least show it. It's so okay, sure. That alien hybrid.
They showed it with the rat, or the rat.
That's foreshadowing and setup. That's your setup, right? So that would be if they hadn't shown what the goo had done, I would have been upset because I would have been like, how come there was no payoff to the goo? That scene is payoff to the goo.
I wouldn't, because them introducing the goo is set up for the next one. It's not one that you do in this one.
Because the whole
it's one that you use in the sequel, where it's like, okay, you have the goo and the aliens get into it and it turns them into super aliens.
You're not wrong if they show the goo at the end. Like if you get to the end of the movie and they reveal the goo, but the plot of the movie is about getting the goo. Like it's about going and getting the goo. So I love how we just keep calling it the goo.
I mean, no, the plot of the movie is for them to go and get their sleep chamber.
That's the inciting incident in the story. But the actual plot itself is them trying to get to the middle of the ship. So why can't I remember his name? I keep wanting to call him Benny. Doesn't matter. The robot brother. So he can get the goo. Archie, not Archie.
It is Archie.
Archie?
Tyler.
That's not right either.
Archie Renau is Tyler, Kay's brother and Rain's ex-boyfriend.
Oh, okay, fair enough then. No, that's not the one. The robot. The robot has a different name.
Oh, it's Andy.
Andy, thank you. It's Andy. It's about Andy trying to get to the center of the thing to get the goo. So if that was a major plot point.
For the humans, it's not about that. It's about escaping.
Sure, but it's a major plot point of the movie. So you're right. If at the end of it, like, they're on the ship, they're in the pod, and they reveal the goo, then you're right. That is a tease for the next movie.
I feel like the only reason why you feel like they needed to is because they showed the rats. Because they showed what the goo did to the rats. If they didn't show that, and they just had them trying to get this goo.
Like if the end of the movie cuts, they get into the pod and you think that Andy has been changed back to normal, and there's a sneak reveal. You see he's got this goo, and you're like, what the fuck is this goo? That's a setup for the sequel. My point is that this movie is about that goo. It's a big reveal as the goo, so you have to show what the goo does. You have to. You don't have a choice. You have to. And whether or not that's a small demonstration or a big one.
In fact, what I think that what it should have been, because it would have tied back to the androids and how the androids are the ones that are trying to get this, is I think it would have been far more interesting if the goo interacts with, what did I just say his name? Andy. If the goo interacts with Andy and like covers him, and he basically becomes like a xenomorph that can talk, but he has the intellect of Andy.
Or even
like there's so many better ways and more interesting things.
Like I don't. The reason why I'm forgiving of it is because unlike the one from Alien Resurrections, this one looks good. Like it looks good for what it is supposed to be, and but no. Like you're like, it looks horrifying. That's the point. It's supposed to look horrifying and upsetting, right? So it is incredibly effective. So it gets points for that. Conceptually, no, I don't love it. I don't love it.
But it's still a mindless beast.
That's what I look. We can argue the effectiveness of that scene, right? That's not my argument. My argument is not the effectiveness of it. My argument is not that the scene couldn't be better. I've never once said that. My argument has always been and always will be that it is a necessary scene for the end of that movie to pay off the goo. Now, you're right. Had they not shown that goo early on, I wouldn't have an issue with it. That's where my issue is. There's a setup and there's a payoff. If you just show the rats, there is no payoff. You're just like, well, they show this goo, but they never say what it does or what the point of it is. That would be frustrating. Now, you're right.
I don't agree. I don't think it would have been frustrating for me. I think to me that's
would've.
set up for the sequel.
No, not in the way it's. You would have been
Yeah.
like, how come they never explain what the goo does? That's what we would have been like. That's what this conversation would have been. Would have been, how come they never say what? Like, no, it's not. That is not. When you introduce the concept of the goo, like 30, 40 minutes into the movie, that's not set up for a sequel. That is a part of the plot of the movie. So no, you had to show what the goo did. Whether or not you show the goo better.
Word 789 says, question, how did we go from one xenomorph in Alien 1 to many xenomorphs in this one? Did I miss that plot point?
Yes, yeah, you see all the facehuggers and you see them in like test tubes and stuff. They've been growing them. The whole purpose of that lab is for Bishop, the Bishop guy. It's for him to create xenomorphs. So yes, they do explain that. They find the egg or whatever, and then yeah, he basically has been breaking them down. That's how he discovers the goo.
But as for a sequel,
here's what I would say.
How do you make a sequel? I mean, quite frankly, any sequel they make is just to me, because I'm not the person to defend this or make this series better. I just don't like them enough to do that. To me, any sequel that you make is kind of just gonna feel like more of the same.
Unless it's but sometimes you could do more of the same but do it really well, and I think this is a case of doing it really well. And yeah, if you do another one, you do it again really well. Again, I want to see I want to see this guy tackle his version of Aliens. I think that's the sequel to this, and then I think you stop. You don't do 3 and 4. you do really good homage to Aliens, like 2025, like it gets modern spec. Basically, like
you want to know what I think you do for the last one, which would be a sequel to this. But to me, it would be the last one before you like 100% reboot it, redesign stuff, and just do it from the ground up. But for one last sequel, I would have it be where it's the furthest point in the timeline. The corporations have either died out or they're still around, and they've basically perfected their weaponized version of the aliens, and it's about them going to the actual alien planet to test out their weaponized version of the aliens, set it loose on the original aliens, and you have Earth created aliens versus actual aliens, and then the humans get like their hubris, of course. They get caught in the middle and everyone dies.
I will say that they've never that I guess that maybe would be the direction. The one thing that this franchise has never done yet, they've never done the humans have to team up with the aliens to fight a worse alien. Like they've never done that. But my ideal version of like
in my version of it would be that like they unleash their human version on the alien aliens, and then they're like, oh god, we've created unstoppable monsters, and have to team up with the original aliens to stop their created aliens.
Yeah,
like the ones that they made.
But okay, so with that, we need to definitively. I think we've let this go on long enough. We need to definitively rank the Alien movies. Okay,
I did hear that word 789 that they're apparently making Alien Earth, which is a Hulu TV show.
Interesting. Oh, so it would answer all the questions I literally asked earlier, where it's like it explains all the corporation stuff and all that.
I'm guessing probably.
Interesting. So Jordan, definitively, we're gonna rank all of the Alien movies, including the new one. What is your ranking? Where, or maybe we don't have to do the whole ranking again. Where do you put this one in the ranking? What gets bumped? What gets moved up?
This is number 1, and everything else is the same.
Really, this usurps Alien 2 for you?
I
think it's better than Aliens.
It's tough. They're close.
I really like Aliens. I really like this one.
I really like Aliens, but I really like. I would almost. It feels like a cop out to say they're both number 1.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I would have to. You're right. You're right. Thinking about this, I would have to put this at number 2 because I don't really have any issues with aliens.
Yeah, fair enough.
I have I have the one sticking point that we've debated for like 40 minutes with this one. I don't really have that with the other one.
Yeah, that's
So
fair. I just, it's yeah. That's a tough for me. I really love Aliens. I think it's gonna be this one and then Aliens for me. This Aliens and then this one. Aliens is number 1. This is number 2. This I think is the second best Alien movie for sure. I think it's.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it is blasphemous to say it's better than the original. I certainly liked it better than the original. But to be fair,
Oh,
I
weird.
tend to subscribe more to modern movie making techniques. So like,
we're gonna catch hell for that for sure. As it is, word 789 says, I didn't like Aliens more than Aliens 1. Don't get
Oh.
me wrong, I liked Aliens, but I don't like how it was more action than horror, which is funny
That is
because that is the exact reason why we like it
that
more.
is a completely fair. I saw someone say that about that and Terminator 2 that James Cameron took, which was Terminator 1, which is like James Cameron took, which was a really effective horror movie, and turned it into like a mindless action movie. And I like mindless action movies, so like I respect that perspective, and I fully understand why it wouldn't be. But for me, it's my favorite.
That's what I said. That's why I said
I like this one more than the original Aliens, though, because I think it's a better version of that for me. It works better for me because it combines both a little bit of the action and a little bit of the suspense. And also I'm in a different place
I would agree
now.
with that. But that's why I said right from the beginning that to me there's two kind of alien movie, which is action and then there's horror.
Yeah.
And so that's where it's like if that's where I feel like I should clarify our list. If I was making the list based on which is a better horror movie, then I would put Romulus at the top.
Yeah, definitely.
If I was making our list based on which is a better action movie or which one I like more, which is because I like action, then I would put Aliens at the top.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I would have to agree with that. Not to say it's a bad movie. I just, I love it.
Yeah.
It will deserve all of the accolades it gets, and I will absolutely. Yeah. I'll turn that to a sequel. This definitely. I saw the comparison of this to Prey. I don't know if I like it as much as Prey, but I see the comparison.
I can see the comparison.
I can definitely see the comparison. But I think we have to wrap this up. This episode's gone on for 4 years.
4 years and 27 hours.
So with that, we have to do the assignment for next week. The assignment for next week, since we talked about a bunch of sequels, I think we need to do our own sequel to one of our own episodes. We're gonna do Pick a Director 2. Pick a Director 2. And so you must pick a director. Pick a director. Watch their filmography. Try to say something generally about their movies overall. Try to have an overall opinion. Watch a bunch of them. Watch some stuff you haven't seen. Watch some stuff that you've seen. Leave a comment. Which is your favorite Alien movie? In the thing. What is your ranking?
Sorry. Word 789 says, "See you next time." I sub, by the way. Thank you. Thank you to everyone who stopped by and chatted with us today. We had a lot of activity today.
Yeah, thank you for everyone who stopped on by. I guess that's what happens when you're algorithmically friendly. Today's episode was brought to you by the letters S, E, and O.
Search engine optimization.
Yeah, gotta love being algorithmically friendly. But thanks to everyone for joining in. Yeah, next week we're gonna do Pick a Director. I know what mine is. I have my director ready and good to go.
I'm not sure yet.
Jordan doesn't know yet. Leave a comment. What's your favorite Alien movie? Leave some suggestions for directors for Jordan to check out for next week. He doesn't want to be a basic bitch and pick Steven Spielberg, but we both know he's gonna end up picking Steven Spielberg.
I didn't last time. I try not to.
I'm just kidding.
It's too obvious.
It's too obvious. Maybe leave a comment. Try and guess what you think I'm gonna pick. That's always fun. Let's do the end of the show plugs. Yeah, let's thanks everyone for tuning in this week. This was fun. I always love getting comments. Love it when people join. And thanks to those of you who subscribed. We're hoping to hit 69 soon. Hit 69 subscribers because I want to do R-rated comedies when we hit 69 subscribers. I think that'll be funny. Jordan, where can they find you? Almost forgot the end of show plugs.
I do Twitch on Mondays. I do Minecraft Mondays, and if more people show up, maybe I'll start streaming the movies that I watch during the week for this show as I stream video games.
He might stream other things too. You don't know. You can't. Who's to say? You can
Who
find
could
me
say?
on TikTok. I'm on TikTok at Justin Spurr. I've been kind of inactive on there because I haven't really been making a ton of videos lately, but I'm still there. We have our own TikTok page. That's Spur of the Moment P. If you want to see isolated clips and you don't want to sit here and watch a 4-hour podcast all at once, I understand it. It's a lot. I try to put out a long form video at least once a week. I've got a big 2-parter coming out probably by the start of next week. It's going to be
we have
about
a Discord.
It's going to be about Ultraman versus Super Sentai. If you didn't get to watch that, you don't have to watch the whole episode. I chopped that out. We have a Discord. I try to keep our Discord link updated, but it expires weekly. It fucking sucks. Come join our Discord. You can leave all sorts of fun suggestions there. If you want to email the show, you can email the show if you're a sponsor. If you want to sponsor the show and pay us to sell your stuff, we are willing to do that. Trophy Smack, thank you for sponsoring this episode. As always, thank you for sponsoring
Show
us.
them all that trophy, Justin.
Show them the trophy one more time. Thank you, Trophy Smack, as always, for sponsoring this episode. Thank you to the network. Thanks, Jake. We will see you all next week. The audio version hopefully will go up. I think the recording failed mid episode, so it's going to be up in a couple of days. The audio version of this. But yes, have a good day. Subscribe, leave a comment, like, do all the